Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Garrett Smith, also known as the nutrition detective around these here YouTube parts. As Joe just put in the live chat, we are live now, and we're almost on time today. As one of his super fans, Jackie K, said, seriously early for a change. Yeah, we were almost on time. We're almost, but I still commit to being here. I still make it every time, and we're here. So today, what we're going to go over is we are going to go over the research. Actually, you know what? I gotta tell you guys, and I gotta give props to Joe. Joe did some. I don't know what search Joe did on. He did an AI search, but it was about how nickel affected detox stuff, and what it came up with. I probably never would have found it. So what we're going to go over today, what it showed is really how nickel inhibits vitamin A metabolism, if you want to call it metabolism or detoxification, at multiple spots. And it affects all of your body's drug and toxin processing, and it makes it all worse. So I want you to think about this before we get into it. For those of you who have been doing the low nickel diet, and you are getting the nickel detox dumping symptoms, we'll call it, and they suck, and they take about 2 to 4 days to start for most people. Once you've taken out enough of your nickel sources, then it begins. And what's likely going on is you're going to see in this research that I put together, that Joe got started, I put it together, and then I expanded on it, is that nickel slows down like almost every detox system of your body. And so when you take out the nickel, what happens? What comes back online? Your entire detox system. So this is a brilliant thing. So I wanted to thank Joe for finding that. And I probably would have looked at it from a different angle, and I would have missed this whole heme oxygenase and cytochrome P450 connection that is going to be gigantic. So on that note, I also wanted to go over one thing that we've caught on to with that it took a while for us to figure it out, and I want to set this up before we do this. First, we're going to have Pectisol and Pecticlear in the shop and the VIP store very soon. We're going to have them there very soon. So if you guys want, we'll have them for you Love Your Liver members in the VIP store. We will have them at very good prices. We'll put it that way. So those are going to be available soon. Now, I wanted to say this about the Pecticlear. First, many people have had huge reliefs. Many people have had a huge relief of their symptoms from the Pecticlear during the nickel detox. Okay, it really helps. Now, that is most likely the Pectisol, but it's combined with the alginate, which is their patented alginate. First, I'm going to tell you, if you guys out there want to try buying potassium alginate or sodium alginate powders and mixing them up, it is close to one of the most disgusting powders you're ever going to mix up. It is like snot. It is like slime. It will stick to your glass. It will clump. There's a reason why Pecticlear exists. And people might say, well, that's kind of expensive. And I go, alginate's disgusting. Like, you can go use it. It's gross. It's absolutely gross. And you can't eat enough boba to get alginate. And I do know somebody else. Tyler is doing their noodles made from sodium alginate, and that's how he's trying to get it in his kids. So you can find sodium alginate noodles out there. They look like the glass noodles, but you can do it that way. But what I want to tell you about the Pecticlear or alginate or anything alginate related, which includes Pecticlear, a small group of people has noticed that it affects their sleep negatively if they have it too late in the day. Okay? So it's not everybody. It's some people, and it's when they have it too late in the day. Some people may be too sensitive for it, and the time may not matter. So what I'm telling you is, if you think you might have this issue, move your whatever Pecticlear you're going to take, move it to the morning, maybe midday. I would say definitely have it before 3 p.m. probably better is before noon. And I wanted to let you guys know that we found this out from feedback we got from some people we know. We trust their observations. And then also a buddy of mine talked to an ER doctor that he knows. And the ER doctor, he was talking about himself having trouble with sleep, and he was doing the Pecticlear. And the doctor asked him, what's in it? And he said, alginate. And she's like, that's from algae, right? And he said, yeah. And she said that she has had a lot of experience with algae products in her life. And she said they can be very stimulating, so don't take them after 3. So not only did we have the alginate feedback from multiple sources, but we had this algae connection. So just, am I still taking Pecticlear? Yeah, what I've done personally, so, we talked about the detox dose of it was like 6 pills 3 times a day during the hard detox part. So that's not forever. I know Pecticlear is expensive. It's not cheap, but it's not forever either. Okay. So what I did, since I'm kind of over the hump of the nickel, the rough, brutal nickel detox, is I'm now doing, on most days, I'm doing about 10 pills at once in the morning before I've eaten. So I just did more at one dose. If you wanted to split it up and do 18 pills and do 9 before breakfast and 9 before lunch and have it done by noon, that works too. If you wanted to do, whatever you want to do, that the Pecticlear will generally, or Pecticlear or alginates, if you're going to slog them down, will help during the roughest part of the nickel detox. However, if you are one of the sensitive ones, what's the sensitive ones? It tends to be trouble falling asleep. There may be a little bit of palpitations. There may be some anxiety. So if you're having that constellation of symptoms, especially at night when you're in bed, then the alginate may be part of that. So I think I had a bit of it during it, but it seems to be gone. And now that I've moved the timing of it, seems to be fine. But again, I bought some of the sodium alginate and the potassium alginate, tried it several ways. It's just not, and I'm not picky. Like, if I think something will help me, I will take it. And the alginates were just beyond the pale. It was gross. So wanted to give that quick announcement just to help you guys manage through it. So now let's get into the big research paper. Let me share my screen. Here we go. Okay. Oh, let me do full screen. View. There we go. We'll zoom in a bit for Joe. So, as you guys saw, the title of today is the Detox Shutdown, Tonsillitis, and Worsens Vitamin A Toxicity. Wait till you guys see how much nickel is in the tonsils. And why, when we went over like braces and tooth decay and stuff like that in the pathogens episode, like, your tonsils are, people talk about them being the immune system guardian of your mouth. I think they're really just supposed to be there as sponges that grab onto stuff you either eat, you chew it, it's exposed to the tonsils. The tonsils are there like a sponge soaking up toxic stuff. Or that if you get to the point where you're a mouth breather because you're so toxic and allergic, then you start breathing over them and they can absorb stuff that way and they become very toxic. So if for any of you out there who, when I go over this toxicity of the tonsils, I want you to, hold on one second. I need to fix something. Hold on. Sorry, I got to do this live, but let me just fix. Come on. No, that's all right. Okay. No, everything's fine. Okay. Oh, let me go back to it now. Here we go. So what we're going to go over, the common detox stuff that we've gone over many, many times before. Okay. P-glycoprotein. We're actually going to go over alcohol dehydrogenase today before we go over aldehyde dehydrogenase. Let me get my chat back up Sorry, got that out of the way. And here we go. Okay. So, P-glycoprotein, ADH, ALDH, Cytochrome P450. I want to tell you what we found in the research to this point is things that slow down P-glycoprotein also tend to slow down ALDH. They also tend to slow down Cytochrome P450, the specific one 3A4, which is the biggest one you have that detoxes the most drugs and toxins. Okay? So now we're going to go through this just nickel shutting this stuff down, okay? So first we have P-glycoprotein. What is P-glycoprotein? Just a really quick, easy thing so you guys can understand it. It is the mechanism of how your cells take a toxin inside of them and move it out. P-glycoprotein is your cellular detox. Very simple. So if you guys are looking at this screen, I want to tell you before we go and look at these things, there's a couple other names for P-glycoprotein. One is ABCB1. Okay. And another one is MDR1. And you'll see them mention this in the papers, but I just wanted to say, so we're talking about P-glycoprotein or PGP, but they also talk about it as ABCB1 and MDR1. Okay. So here we go. The paper is called Nickel-Induced Cell Death and Survival Pathways in Cultured Renal Proximal Tubule Cells. These are kidney cells. Roles of reactive oxygen species, ceramide, and ABCB1. Here we go. Nickel and nickel compounds are carcinogens. What a start. That target the lungs and kidneys, causing cell death or cell survival adaptation. The multi-drug resistance P-glycoprotein ABCB1, see, like I said, protects cells against toxic metabolites and xenobiotics and is upregulated by many cancer cell types. So I want you to understand the multi-drug resistance P-glycoprotein. It helps you to detox your cells because your cancer cells are your own cells. And they are detox machines. They're like mini livers, okay? And they're supposed to detox you. And so what does chemotherapy, what does oncology want to do? They want to shut it down. They say, we need to poison these cells. Good detox is not okay. We must shut down the detox of your cells that we call cancer. Okay? In renal proximal tubule cells, so just think kidney cells, nickel chloride increased both reactive oxygen species formation, that's not good, detected by this, and cellular ceramides, which were detected by this, culminating in decreased cell viability. So the cells were not as functional. Increased DNA fragmentation, augmented PARP1 cleavage, and increased ABCB1 mRNA and protein. So what I want to talk about this, people say, well, wait, it increased P-glycoprotein. This is how things work in the body is the acute short-term exposure in like a cell that's only going to live through one life cycle. Like there's only one cell living once. It will respond by increasing its detox for a short period until it'd be like if you had to run somewhere, you know, you're running away from something, let's say something's chasing you and you're running away from it and you run really fast at the start. And then you start to get tired. And then you slow down your running, and then you slow down to walking, and then you can't even hardly walk anymore. Okay, so that's how cells respond to toxins. They go faster at the start, and then it slows down. Okay? We know here that cancers are toxic storage units, and so detox is upregulated in it. That's what it's there for. It's to store toxins and to break down toxins. It's also high in ALDH in those cells. Wait, PGP and ALDH moving up and down together. What a coincidence. Okay. So, where were we at? So they're saying ABCB1, P-glycoprotein, protects against nickel toxicity. As when they gave this PSC-A33 and ABCB1 blocker augmented the decrease in cell viability by nickel. Moreover, nickel toxicity was attenuated, that means reduced, in kidney cells, stably overexpressing P-glycoprotein. So if the P-glycoprotein was running faster It protected them from nickel toxicity. Do you see why these cells would want to increase their P-glycoprotein short term? They just can't keep it up forever. Those of you guys who remember when you were younger and you could drink alcohol and you didn't get hungover because your body could upregulate its ALDH production. And then now as you're older, you drink and you get hungover very easily because you cannot clear the acetaldehyde anymore. This is the same concept. In conclusion, nickel induces an ROS ceramide pathway to cause apoptotic cell death, literally killing cells, as well as activate adaptive survival responses, including upregulation of ABCB1. They're literally saying your cells to survive are upregulating P-glycoprotein because nickel's around. Okay, let's go into this one. Interactive effects of nickel and chlorpyrifos, a toxin, on Mediterranean muscle CAMP-mediated cell signaling and MXR-related gene expressions. Muscles were exposed. You know what muscles are, right? Not muscles. We're talking about mussels as in like, you know, similar to clams and oysters and stuff like that. The shellfish, the toxin filters of the ocean. Mussels were exposed for 4 days to nickel, chlorpyrifos, or the mixture of nickel and chlorpyrifos. And this is PGP. Sorry, this is PGP here. MVP was, sorry, I got people sending me messages. Anyway, expression of MGPVP, MVP was unaffected by CL. Why did I? Oh, and increased by nickel. So that was okay. So I may have looked at this wrong. It's not specifically PVP, and I'd have to look up what MVP is. I'm not going to do that right now, but yeah. So let's see. Yeah, we're just going to leave that alone. Okay. So here we have another paper, differential modulation of nuclear texture, histone acetylation, and MDR, as in PGP1 or PGP, gene expression in human drug-sensitive and resistant, drug-resistant ovarian cell lines, ovarian tissue cell lines. In this study, we analyzed the effects of treatments with the HDAC inhibitor, trichostatin A, so that's basically a toxin, or nickel sulfide, on those things I mentioned and the MDR gene expression. So we got that. In these OV1 VCR cells, nickel subsulfide induced a significant downregulation of the PGP gene expression. Okay. So again, you have the upregulation at the start, and over time, it shuts it down. What do we call this? We call this the duration paradox, which is why science has such trouble or purposely doesn't understand things, is because everybody wants it to be the short-term reaction is the same as the long-term reaction, and they are not. They are often diametrically opposed, as in they are the exact opposite. Okay. Alcohol. You drink alcohol, you might feel happier and more energetic, and then what do you feel a bit later? If you don't keep drinking, you feel very, very tired and you pass out. We see these things everywhere, okay, especially with toxins. So let's keep going. Oh, let's go view. Okay, so now we are into ADH. I know most of the time we talk about aldehyde dehydrogenase, which is ALDH, but there's a very special study here on alcohol dehydrogenase. So here's the paper. Active site specifically reconstituted nickel horse liver alcohol dehydrogenase. Insertion of nickel ions into the empty catalytic site of horse liver alcohol dehydrogenase yields an active enzyme with 65% metal substitution and about 12% intrinsic activity. I want you to understand what they just said. They just said putting nickel ions into alcohol dehydrogenase lowered the activity by 88%. So it's active, but it's only 12% active in terms of what it can do. So it took ADH and it reduced it by 88%. Now, what does this mean? Okay, what does ADH do? ADH takes retinol, or ethanol, but it takes retinol, that form of vitamin A, the animal form that everybody likes to push, right? That they think your body can't make from beta carotene, which it just slices the beta carotene and it makes it, and then it turns into retinol. It's like, it's not hard. Okay. If you slow down ADH, when you bottleneck an enzyme, you build up what's going into it. So if retinol goes through ALDH, if you block ALDH, you build up retinol. What does your body then do with that retinol? It binds it to a fatty acid and it stores it in your liver and in your fat tissues all around your body. Okay, so you're literally nickel is literally slowing down your ADH. You're building up retinol. Does your body like free retinol floating around? No. That's why it makes retinol binding protein to protect you. But what else can it do to it? It can store it in your liver. What do we have an epidemic of based on autopsy research? Too much vitamin A stored in livers, literally. The study of the 27 cadaver study, which is the biggest one done, the most recent one, fully 1/3 of them were vitamin A toxic in the liver. Okay? So this is really important. So let's go to the next one. And we do get into ALDH here too. Just not yet. This is going to be the part that is a little more technical. I'm going to try to make it as simple as I can, and I'm not going to go through every single paper here. But we're going to go over the Cytochrome P450 system. So it's often written as Cytochrome P450 or CYP450, like that, okay? So the first part we're going to go over is how the entire cytochrome system requires heme, which is, most of you know about heme as being heme iron, right? Heme iron is what you get from eating meat. It is the most bioavailable form of iron, okay? So what do the Cytochrome P450 enzymes do? This is the medical biochemistry page. Let me zoom in a little bit on here because this wording is small. Enzymes of the Cytochrome P450 superfamily are all heme-containing enzymes. So I just want you to think about, if something destroys heme, what's it going to do to your Cytochrome P450 system? It's going to destroy or reduce or shut down or slow down that system. This should make sense. It can't run. It'd be like your car without spark plugs. You can't run it. It's still there. You just can't run it. The term cytochrome P450 stems from the fact that the proteins are the member of the cytochrome heme-containing family of proteins, and that when the heme moiety, that means the part of it, is complex with carbon monoxide, the maximum absorption of light occurs at a wavelength of 450 nanometers. So they talked about cytochrome, and then it did this binding with carbon monoxide at 450 nanometers, so they called it cytochrome P450. The cytochrome enzymes, or you think of the enzyme family, are involved in numerous biosynthetics, so they make stuff in your body, and metabolic pathways, which is really, they're saying it detoxes stuff. The most significant functions of the cytochrome family enzymes are the synthesis and metabolism of lipids, such as fatty acids and sterols, and in the metabolism or detoxification of xenobiotic compounds, things that xenobiotics, they generally talk about as things they're foreign to your body. Alien. Xeno is alien, such as therapeutic drugs and foreign chemicals. So if, let's say, I don't know, there was an industrial, complex making lots of new toxins that we're exposed to, your cytochrome P450 system is what is dealing with those. Oh, and your medications. That's why, they don't want you to drink grapefruit juice with certain medications, is because it specifically slows down areas of your cytochrome P450 system. With respect to lipid metabolism, members of the large cytochrome family metabolize the clinically relevant PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids of the omega-3 and omega-6 families. These PUFAs include arachidonic acid in the omega-3 PUFA, eicosapentaenoic acid, and docosahexaenoic acid. Gosh, what's the thing that everybody's having a fit about right now? I believe it's seed oils. What's one of the problems with seed oils? That right there. Gosh, if there was something like nickel messing with your body's ability to metabolize fatty acids, do you think something could become an even bigger problem than it actually is? So we now have vitamin A, which is becoming a bigger problem than it used to be because we're slowing down the detox systems. And now we have seed oils potentially becoming a bigger issue than they used to be because the nickel toxicity is getting worse. I'm not saying seed oils are good. I'm just saying things that were, if you slow down your entire detox system, whatever is bottlenecking for you becomes the problem. That's it. The cytochrome enzymes are also critical in the synthesis and metabolism of cholesterol and bile acids. Wow, we don't talk about those at all, as well as vitamin A and vitamin D. Wow, that's weird. That's like the whole health world right now, right? Vitamin D, seed oils, toxins, right? This is, and I was saying from the very start that nickel is doing something to the whole system. Nickel is actually bigger. The nickel toxicity problem is bigger than the vitamin A problem because the nickel toxicity problem is causing the vitamin A problem. Wait, there's a vitamin D problem. Oh, wait, nickel is involved in the cytochrome system. Just we'll get into it. So remember, cytochromes need heme. So here we have a pretty straightforward paper. Soluble nickel interferes with cellular iron homeostasis, or how the cells process iron. We do need iron. We do literally need iron. So if something's messing, we're not going to say that homeostasis here is a way of hiding toxicity, but can iron become toxic? Yes. Can it be deficient? Yes. Look at what they started this one again with. Soluble nickel compounds are likely human carcinogens. They keep telling us this, but do oncologists ever talk about nickel and the rising amount of nickel sensitivity in the population? No. Why not? Because they can't talk about toxicity. They will not ever talk about toxicity. Here we verify the ability of nickel to enter the cell via the divalent metal ion transporter 1, DMT1, which is the same transporter transports nickel and iron into the cells. That's what they just said. And disturbs cellular iron homeostasis. Nickel may interfere with iron at both an extracellular level, that's outside the cells, by preventing iron from being transported into the cell, and at an intracellular level by competing for iron sites on enzymes like the pro-LYLL hydroxylases that modify hypoxia-inducible factor 1 alpha. So what nickel causes, you can look this up, nickel causes a pseudo-hypoxia. Your cells don't get enough oxygen. Everything that nickel does, it makes it look like the cells don't get enough oxygen. Nickel was able to decrease the binding of the von Hippel-Lindau protein to H1F alpha, indicating a decrease in pro-LYLL hydroxylase activity, which was what they just said. The ability of nickel to affect various iron-dependent processes may be an important step in nickel-dependent carcinogenesis. Okay. So I've used a term here before that's an important term called dysregulation. Dysregulation in the body, when we're talking about, like, let's say something like iron or calcium even, both minerals that we do need. Dysregulation means you have too much in places you don't want it and not enough in places you do want it. Too much where you don't want it, not enough where you do want it. Wait, nickel interferes with iron getting into the cell from the outside, and nickel interferes by blocking iron so you can't get the iron into the places you need. So what do we see here? I'm actually, I didn't pull it up today, but you folks with iron overload, high ferritin, I absolutely think that nickel is the major part of that. Absolutely. Funny thing, we talked about IP6, inositol hexaphosphate 6, which is used in the research they use it to treat cancer. What do they say it chelates the most? Iron. What does it also chelate quite well? Nickel. Why are all these papers starting with nickel compounds are likely carcinogens? And then everybody's going, and so we see that phytic acid helps with this, and then they're saying iron may lead to cancer, but we already know that nickel is a carcinogen. So are you seeing how it's all tying together? But they will not look at nickel. Just imagine, folks, like if they start looking at nickel and they start telling people nickel is toxic, what does that do to industries? What does that do to the jewelry industry? What does that do to the cookware industry? What does that do to the whole like metallurgy and making stuff industry? It destroys everything. They will not talk about nickel. They can't. It's too cheap. And if there was any plan to, reduce the number of people in the world, they wouldn't want to tell you how they were doing it. Okay, next one. Again, we're just establishing, wait, I'm going the wrong way. Heme oxygenase 1. What does heme oxygenase 1 do, or heme oxygenase? It destroys heme, okay? Heme oxygenase 1 breaks down heme. That's all you need to know about it, okay? It affects cytochrome P450 function through the formation of heteromeric complexes, okay? I'm going to hit on the big one here. So heme oxygenase 1 and the cytochrome P450s are endoplasmic reticulum-bound enzymes. They're in the cell that rely on the same protein, NADPH cytochrome P450 reductase. So they use the same enzyme to provide the electrons necessary for substrate metabolism or detoxification. Although the heme oxygenase 1 and P450 systems are interconnected owing to their common electron donor, they generally have been studied separately. Because that's what science does, right? They don't want to look at bigger pictures. They want to look at each individual thing. As the expressions of both HO1 and P450s are affected by xenobiotic exposure, toxins change them. Changes in HO1 expression can potentially affect P450 function, and conversely, vice versa, changes in P450 expression can influence HO1. Let's go down here. I think we covered that. I wanted to hit on this one just a little bit. So you guys know what a lot of the cytochrome P450 system does. So cytochrome P450, heme-containing membrane-bound protein that catalyzes or helps facilitate the oxygenation of a wide variety of exogenous from outside of the body and endogenous made within the body compounds. Generally, metabolism by P450 converts lipid-soluble substrates, so fatty soluble substrates, to more water-soluble products. So it's helping to convert fat-soluble, aka fat-storable toxins, we don't talk about those ever, do we? To water-soluble toxins, so they can generally leave your kidneys. They don't have to go out the bile, so they can leave your kidneys, and thereby facilitates their elimination. However, in many instances, metabolism by P450 can generate reactive intermediates that lead to toxicity, mutagenesis, and or carcinogenesis. I'll go over that in a second. We don't need that bottom part. Okay, we can skip that. Okay, you guys remember how I told you about like ethanol, alcohol. Ethanol goes through ADH, it turns into acetaldehyde. Ethanol is not what kills people or causes hangovers. It's the acetaldehyde that kills people or causes hangovers. So your body is putting it through ADH, ADH just made something more toxic. And if the ALDH isn't working, the thing that breaks down the acetaldehyde, then you build up acetaldehyde and you get more toxicity. So acetaldehyde is more toxic than alcohol. So they just said the cytochrome P450 system can also do this thing called intoxification or biotransformation, which is where it can turn something that is less toxic into something that is more toxic as the body's trying to detox it. Very few people talk about this out there. Your body can take beta carotene, turn it into retinol, which is toxic in itself if it's floating around free. Then it becomes retinaldehyde, which is even more of a problem. That's why you don't see retinaldehyde in skincare products much, is because retinaldehyde is even nastier. And then retinaldehyde turns into retinoic acid, literally a chemical peel. So as your body's trying to detox vitamin A, it's literally making it more toxic every step. So the Cytochrome P450 system can do that too. Reactive, the metabolism by the P450 can generate reactive intermediate steps in between that lead to toxicity, mutagenesis, and or carcinogenesis. That's not good. It's just what happens though. So you want it running fast. That's the idea. You want the whole thing running fast so things don't get stuck. That's the idea. Okay, so let's go over this last part just so we know. The P450s and heme oxygenase 1 share a necessary binding partner in that enzyme we talked about earlier. P450s are inducible, as in you can make them run faster by a variety of endobiotic and xenobiotic agents, toxins, whether they're coming from outside the body or from inside the body. Heme oxygenase 1 is also inducible by endogenous and foreign compounds, as well as by oxidative stress. POR1 is often expressed at much lower levels than are the P450s, leading to conditions where they must compete for limiting POR. So they're basically saying your heme oxygenase and your cytochrome P450 system, the heme destroyer and your detox system called the cytochrome P450 compete for the POR, which is really basically, it eventually becomes the heme, right? I mean, that's in effect what we're talking about. So let's keep going. I'm just establishing these patterns so you guys understand that this is really something. Enzymes of heme metabolism. I'm not going to be like a certain person out there who likes to write and use like one reference to support what they're saying. I try to get multiple references. I just saw a terrible article trying to badmouth like zinc and selenium as causing cancer, and they found one paper, and it took me less than a minute to find two papers, one for zinc, one for selenium, to refute it. Took me less than 2 minutes. I'm sure they had to search a while to find their one reference. So anyway, enzymes of heme metabolism is the kidney. I'm sure they mean in the kidney. Regulation by trace metals which do not form heme complexes. Okay, so let's just go over this. We'll just hit on this one real quick. Nickel and platinum, I believe, was that what they were talking about? Did they say platinum somewhere? I'm assuming that's platinum. Were potent inducers of heme oxygenase, the initial and rate-limiting enzyme in heme degradation. So, nickel breaks down heme. Again, this is all over the place. I don't even know if we need to read this, the whole thing. Nickel induction of microsomal heme oxygenase activity in rodents. It induces the breakdown of heme. Nickel makes you break down heme. For all of you who have been anemic for a very long time, you can take tons of iron and it never works. Your body is having trouble converting it into heme. Or maybe it's doing it and the heme is being destroyed faster than you make it. Nickel is definitely involved. If you've had anemia for years, decades, whatever, nickel is absolutely involved. Absolutely. Oh, I wanted to hit on this one. Okay, sodium diethyl dithiocarbamate enhanced the nickel induction of renal heme oxygenase activity, 3 times greater than nickel chloride alone. I'm going to do my best to get this right off the top of my head. Disulfiram is a drug that is specifically used as an ALDH inhibitor. That's what it does. It is often given in the research, at least it used to be, for nickel toxicity, because they thought it chelated nickel. Okay, disulfiram breaks down into 2 of these, I believe. I believe that's how it works. So 1 disulfiram breaks down into 2 of those molecules. Disulfiram in the research, Kelsey has this research, actually stores more nickel in your brain. So for those of you who had, let's say, Lyme disease, and you had some practitioner trying to help you, a Lyme literate practitioner, giving you disulfiram. Not only were they slowing down your ALDH, but by giving you this, they destroyed your heme, caused you to become anemic if you have long-term problems with being anemic, and then they stored more nickel in your brain, way more nickel in your brain. So what this likely means is during your nickel detox, you're probably going to have more mental, emotional symptoms. That's just the way it is. So we didn't know. But again, wait, disulfiram, sulfur, sulfur, slowing detox, slowing ALDH. By destroying heme, it's slowing your entire cytochrome P450 system. If you had long-term problems after disulfiram and you finally realized it wasn't going to fix anything, this is why. Okay, so we had just more heme oxygenase induction again. Now, they just pretty much straight out say it here. This is from 77, probably maybe even before they were measuring a lot of these other things. Regulation of cytochrome P450 dependent microsomal drug metabolizing enzymes by nickel, cobalt, and iron. Let's just look here. These metals were found to impair cellular heme-dependent metabolism by affecting both the heme biosynthetic and heme degradative pathways, inhibiting the former, so you didn't make as heme as well, and you broke heme down faster. It's not good. Nickel and cobalt, those sensitivities can often come together, but there's almost always nickel first, then cobalt comes later. Okay, let's hit on this one more time. So they talked about, I don't know if I hit on, I may have to go back and hit on cytochrome B5. Responses of hepatic, that's liver, xenobiotic metabolizing enzymes of mouse, rat, and guinea pig to nickel. So we're getting more species here. Okay. So nickel was administered to the animals 16 hours prior to sacrifice. Nickel significantly inhibited AH, that's not one of the enzymes we talk about, EMND, AMND activities, and decreased cytochrome P450 as a whole. Cytochrome B5, except in the livers of rats, and microsomal heme levels, that's another way of spelling heme, in the livers of all the animals examined. Where is your cytochrome P450 living? Your liver. No heme, no cytochrome P450. Okay, let me go back to this one. I wanted to see, I think I highlighted cytochrome B5. Oh yeah, this is funny. The soluble cytochrome B5 reductase activity is commonly referred to as methemoglobin reductase due to its initial characterization as the activity responsible for the reduction of ferric iron in methemoglobin back to the normal ferrous state. There's lots of drugs and medications that can cause methemoglobinemia, including methylene blue. It's a big problem. So inhibiting cytochrome B5 would tend to lead towards methemoglobinemia. I'm not going to go deep into that today. So that's what we got on that. Now, let's keep going. Oh, wait, did I hit the glutathione one? I didn't hit the glutathione one. Oh, let's just go back. I guess I was probably still there. And just for those of you who are out there taking glutathione and you think glutathione is going to save you and you're wondering why your body is not making glutathione, nickel's here too. Effect of nickel chloride on hepatic lipid peroxidation and glutathione concentration in mice. Let's see. Intraperitoneal administration of nickel chloride enhanced hepatic lipid peroxidation. That's a bad thing. That's fatty acids oxidizing. Okay, that's bad. In 6-week-old and 8 to 12-week-old male CBA mice, but not in 3-week-old mice. Wait, the younger mice could detox faster than the older mice. Gosh, who talks about that? Nickel chloride administration depleted hepatic glutathione in 8 to 12-week-old mice, but not in younger age groups. After 300 micromoles, nickel nickel chloride per kilogram mortality. It killed the mice, occurred among 8 to 12-week-old mice, but not among the younger mice. Stimulation of glutathione synthesis by administration of this probably toxin reduced nickel chloride-induced mortality and HLP. What was HLP in here? There, hepatic lipid peroxidation. So when they stimulated glutathione artificially, they saw less nickel damage. So your glutathione was trying to protect you from the nickel damage, but nickel reduces your glutathione at the same time. It uses it up. So do you need to take glutathione? Have I ever really used, people ask me, do I use glutathione? I go, no. We fix the reasons why your body's not making it. You remove the toxins and your body doesn't have to use so much glutathione to fight this stuff. Okay, let's go into, we got that. Oh, now we get into vitamin A's. Okay, so remember, nickel slows down ADH. That means that's backing up retinol, which then gets stored in your fat tissues in your liver. And it's why if you were to go and watch liposuction videos, the fat that these doctors are literally pulling out of women is orange these days. It's often very, very yellow or orange, like when people brag about their egg yolks being really, really yellow or really, really orange. I don't want that. So cytochrome 26 and retinoic acid. So what happens between this very specific cytochrome P450 and retinoic acid? What does it do? So we have biochemical and physiological importance of the cytochrome 26 retinoic acid hydroxylases. Cytochrome P450 family, 26 enzymes contribute to they're saying 26 enzymes in the cytochrome family contribute to retinoic acid metabolism and homeostasis in humans, mammals, and other chordates. The 3 cytochrome 26 family enzymes, 26A1, 26B1, and 26C1, have all been shown to metabolize, aka detox, break down, change the form of it. All trans-retinoic acid, that's your retin A, which is in your body. If you eat vitamin A, you got this in your body, as well as 9-cis-retinoic acid. This is called alitretinoin. This is chemotherapy. It is also found in your body if you eat vitamin A. And 13-cis-retinoic acid. This is called Accutane or isotretinoin. This is also found in your body if you eat vitamin A. And this is all in the literature. Isomers and primary metabolites, 4-hydroxyretinoic acid and 4-oxoretinoic acid with high efficiency. So these 3 cytochrome enzymes process your retinoic acids. All 3 cytochrome enzymes are inducible by treatment with ATRA, as in retin A, tretinoin, in various prenatal and postnatal tissues and cell types. Remember, tissues and cells are one lifespan. They're not like reproducing. So one lifespan, just remember the guy running and then he gets tired and he slows down and then he's walking and then he can't run, he can't move anymore. Okay, so one cell is like the running burst. That doesn't tell you what's going to happen 20 cell turnovers down the road. Okay, but it's inducible. So they're saying literally when they put the poison in the cell, your body upregulates the poison processing. It's not to create homeostasis. It's to get rid of it. Why would your body, if the cells needed retinoic acid, why would they immediately try to start breaking it down and getting rid of it? Oh, nevertheless, data is emerging describing a variety of human genetic variations in the cytochrome 26 enzymes that are associated with different pathologies. Why did I highlight this? Because your detox system may be faster or slower than other people's genetically. Maybe genetically you realize that you run faster than other people, or you don't run as fast as other people genetically. So your detox system is, the very base of it is determined genetically. Okay? That's what I just wanted to say here. So cytochrome 26 family processes retinoic acids. What would happen if we slowed down the entire cytochrome P450 family that includes these? Are you going to get rid of retinoic acid very well? No. And just one more just to hammer it home. Cytochrome P450 is in the regulation of cellular retinoic acid metabolism. Oh, I want you to remember that. So one of the ways that they're going to do this, I want to remind you guys, one of the male contraceptive pill. I'm telling you, the different vitamin A's do damage in different ways. The male contraceptive pill is an ALDH inhibitor. So they're going to stop ALDH. So you build up retinaldehyde in your testicles, and that destroys all your sperm. They literally, so they're going to, they say that it's because you don't make retinoic acid in your testicles. And that's why you get infertile. But what are women really supposed to avoid during pregnancy? So much so that they have a black box warning. They make women sign papers saying they won't take it during pregnancy. Oh, you mean retinoic acid? So like literally retinoic acid is a super anti-fertility agent, but supposedly you need retinoic acid to make your spermies for the guys. They stop the ALDH, they build up retinaldehyde, and it ruins your fertility. It ruins your whole health. That's an ALDH inhibitor. What's another ALDH inhibitor? Disulfiram. Do you know that there's an entire category? You guys can go look it up. Disulfiram-like reactions. And they put tons of drugs on this list that cause disulfiram-like reactions. What does that mean? They're likely slowing down your ALDH, and they're causing you to become toxic with aldehydes. We'll get to why this is important in a second. Okay. So they're just saying 26A1 is the most important. Enzyme kinetic studies have demonstrated that several cytochrome proteins are capable of metabolizing retinoic acid. However, that's the chemical peel, just so you know. That is specifically the yellow peel, dissolving cell layers on people's faces. However, it is likely that cytochrome 26A1 plays the major role in retinoic acid clearance. Thus, pharmacological approaches, this is what they want to do to you. Thus, pharmacological approaches to limiting the activity of cytochrome 26 enzymes may extend the half-life of retinoic acid and could be useful clinically in the future. They want you to not be able to break down retinoic acid, and they think it's going to do things for you. Well, it's going to do things all right. Now, what does this mean? So now we're going to get into, so we just talked about the cytochrome 26 enzymes and how they get rid of retinoic acid. Okay. So if those enzymes are not running well, what's going to build up behind the bottleneck? Retinoic acid. What happens when you get too much retinoic acid? It slows down your ALDH enzyme, which is what turns retinaldehyde into retinoic acid. So see, you got a bottleneck here of retinoic acid. That's building up. And then you got ALDH here, which is what makes it. Your body doesn't like retinoic acid. So if there's too much of it, it slows down ALDH. So you don't make as much retinoic acid. So then you build up more retinaldehyde and everything back behind it. Are you starting to see how the vitamin A toxicity epidemic has been created, but it's not necessarily everybody had an excess of vitamin A. It's the nickel playing a huge role in slowing down the whole thing. So retinoic acid itself slows down the enzyme that makes it. Oh, sorry, Joe. Well, here, I'll do it a little further back. We'll go over this again. Okay, so if the cytochrome 26 system, if it's here, right? It's going this way. Detox is running this way. This is your cytochrome 26. It's bottlenecked. Okay? You're building up retinoic acid. As I'm about to go over, when you build up retinoic acid too high, it slows down ALDH or retinaldehyde dehydrogenase, if you want to call it that. It's the same thing. It slows down the enzyme that makes retinoic acid. So now you have bottleneck here building up, and your body says, we don't want to make any more of this retinoic acid. It's a problem. So then you're building up retinaldehyde. And I've said for a while now that I think retinaldehyde is the biggest problem that we're not talking about. Everybody focused on retinoic acid. And I'm going, the ALDH inhibition is the big thing in this retinaldehyde. You can't hardly find any research on retinaldehyde. That's weird. So what we're going to go over now, retinoic acid inhibits ALDH. Just want to show you this. I'll just go through this quick, just so you have the evidence. So here's the paper, use of retinoic acid / aldehyde dehydrogenase pathway as potential targeted therapy against cancer stem cells. Joe asked, they don't test for retinaldehyde. No, there is no test for retinaldehyde that you can get. There's no test for retinoic acid that you can get. And most studies will only test retinol or retinoic acid, and they leave out retinaldehyde. That's weird. We discuss our observation that ATRA and other retinoic acids can suppress ALDH activity and decrease different ALDH isozyme proteins. Okay, so we got that one. Let's just hammer this. All trans-retinoic acid reduces cancer stem cell-like mediated resistance to gefitinib in NSCLC adrenocarcinoma cells. Okay. Treatment with ATRA was found to significantly reduce the increased expression of ALDH1A1. ATRA could directly inhibit active ALDH1A1 as compared to DEAB. Okay. And retinoic acid modulates retinaldehyde dehydrogenase 1 gene expression through the induction of interaction. These data support a model in which high retinoic acid levels inhibit RALDH, retinaldehyde dehydrogenase 1. It's all the same aldehyde dehydrogenase family, folks. Some papers call it ALDH, some papers call it retinaldehyde dehydrogenase if they're focusing on that. By sequestering this through its interaction with that. Okay? I may not even read the line on this one. Feedback inhibition of retinaldehyde dehydrogenase gene by retinoic acid through the retinoic acid receptor and this binding protein. Okay? And finally, literally the title, retinoic acid downregulates aldehyde dehydrogenase and increases cytotoxicity, cellular toxicity of this toxin and acetaldehyde, which comes from alcohol. Well, that would also kind of include retinaldehyde in that conversation too. But why didn't they study retinaldehyde in this paper? So retinoic acid downregulates aldehyde dehydrogenase and increases the toxicity of the aldehydes that are building up behind it. So we got that now. So now that we're here, Joe, you can get out of that one. Okay. I used to wonder, people have asked this and rightfully so. People said, why didn't people used to get so toxic in vitamin A? I didn't have necessarily a great answer other than supplements came about and people are trying to eat brightly colored foods and they're eating more fat, which absorbs more. And those are all legit reasons. But since the results we've been seeing, and then one of the things that happened recently was, right, people who, let's say they had skin issues that weren't responding to the vitamin A detox, suddenly they responded to the nickel detox. Then we found that paper where, like, when somebody took Accutane, all of a sudden they became sensitive to the nickel that they've been wearing forever. Like, these things are very, very intertwined. And so then when Joe did that search, and I thought, oh, I'm going to dig into this deeper like I do. And here we are now with nickel inhibits the enzyme ADH that turns retinol into retinaldehyde, which means it would tend to store more in your liver and your body fat. The stuff that makes it through then is now retinaldehyde. That's the next step. Then it goes through ALDH. Oh, Joe wanted me to say Joseph William Baker. Yes, Joseph William Baker. We're playing this on his YouTube channel right now too. And yeah, always very thankful for Joe. And that was a great search that he did that helped me come up with, the start of this and then to expand upon it. Yes. So let's see, where were we? Oh, so we have the retinaldehyde stuff that makes it through ADH, then becomes retinaldehyde. It then goes through, if it makes it through ALDH, which we've been getting people better. Many people are getting better with what we did before, where we were avoiding vitamin A and trying to get rid of the toxic bile and all of that stuff. People were getting better because the vitamin A is literally a toxin. And if people were already nickel toxic, they're building up this vitamin A. They can't get rid of it. So then the vitamin A becomes a bigger problem than it used to be. Okay. So then you got retinaldehyde going through ALDH. We work a lot on fixing ALDH. But then it goes through ALDH, which may or may not be inhibited. It goes and makes retinoic acid, right? And then as we just went over, cytochrome 26, well, nickel destroys heme. You need heme to run the cytochrome P450 family. Cytochrome 26 family is the one that breaks down retinoic acid. Nickel shuts down the heme, that shuts down the cytochrome 26. You build up retinoic acid. Then you have what's called feedback inhibition of ALDH. So then you're going to block the ALDH from the retinoic acid, and you're blocking the retinoic acid escaping. And then we have this giant cluster F of your detox system, all connected to nickel. So that was fun. Now I got a couple more fun things to go over. This is not going to, as I literally mean this is not going to be a 4-hour live stream. I told Joe that at the start and he kind of laughed at me and I was like, no, I'm serious. Anyway, so we got some other fun things. I wanted to throw in some other things that I had mentioned. So let's get back to, oh wait, this is the wrong, sorry, Joe. Let me go to the right one. Yeah, this is it. Okay. So night blindness. I have always, so you just saw how nickel inhibits vitamin A detox. And I've always said that night blindness is much more likely, as Grant wrote in his book, night blindness is more of a vitamin A toxicity thing because you can get night blindness from taking too much vitamin A. Nickel inhibits vitamin A detox, so you could build that up. You need zinc to detox vitamin A. You need zinc to run ADH also, and you need zinc to counteract nickel. And as we're going to go into this paper, you also need zinc to counteract cadmium and lead. So what this is a giant cluster of zinc deficiency, which I've talked about a bunch. Nickel, which is inhibiting vitamin A detox, and then other toxic metals. So let's get into that one. Evaluation of status of cadmium, lead, and nickel levels in biological samples of normal and night blindness children of ages groups 3 to 7 and 8 to 12 years. Now, if you look at these names, you can probably guess that these kids are not eating much meat. So they looked at cadmium, lead, and nickel in the scalp, hair, blood, and urine of night blindness children aged 3 to 7 and 8 to 12 of both genders. The results indicated significantly higher levels of cadmium, lead, and nickel in the biological samples of male and female night blindness children compared with control subjects of both genders. Do you know that zinc deficiency can cause night blindness? So we see higher nickel, cadmium, lead. Zinc deficiency has been shown to cause night blindness. These children don't eat enough meat, so they're not going to get enough zinc. If you don't have enough zinc to detox, you're going to build up toxic metals. If you don't get enough zinc, the vitamin A gets stuck in the liver, and then the scientists say, oh, they've got low blood vitamin A. This is why they've got night blindness. No, they're low zinc, and they're full of toxicity. I would, if I was given the chance, I bet we could go and fix night blindness in about a week. But that's not what they're interested in. So that's night blindness. Again, we always keep connecting it to zinc deficiency, vitamin A toxicity, and then other toxic metals. The other thing that we've seen is that you can connect the lack of smell, anosmia, to zinc deficiency, cadmium toxicity, copper toxicity, and now nickel toxicity. I think we did that another week. So wait, zinc deficiency, cadmium toxicity, copper toxicity, nickel toxicity. What mineral do you need to fight against these three more toxic ones? Oh, you need zinc. Wait, so you mean they all cause the same lack of smell? That's weird. These things all make sense. When we look at too much toxicity and fixing deficiencies, correcting deficiencies, getting the right nutrients. If you believe the people out there who are the copper copers and the copper crazies who are saying that zinc is causing too much zinc supplementation is causing all the problems in the world, good luck with that. Have fun with that. Come back here when you realize they're 100% wrong. Okay. Now, here's a funny thing. Actually, somebody, I'll try to get back to this chat. Somebody was asking, why does the nickel detox cause stomach symptoms? Like nausea and stomach symptoms and digestive symptoms? Because there are two main places where nickel is stored first and the most in the body, and that's the skin and the gut, which is really funny because in alternative medicine, they say, oh, your skin problems reflect your gut problems. Maybe that's because both of them store nickel there the most. But so we know about ginger, right? Ginger helps nausea. So Wardy Harmon brought, I believe it was Wardy. If it wasn't Wardy, it was Megan Stevens. I don't remember. We have a group chat, and one of them sent this to me. Ladies, I don't remember which one of you it was, and I'm not going to go look it up now, but one of you sent this to me, and I'm really grateful for it. I think it was Megan now. Megan was having some nausea issues on the detox, and she found this research. Okay, so mitigation potential of zingerone. Where do you think that comes from? Well, it comes from ginger. And rutin on toxicity mechanisms of nickel to zebrafish based on morphological DNA damage and apoptosis outcome analysis. So how are we tying this together? Nickel detox especially, or nickel toxicity, tends to cause GERD, nausea, all sorts of your stomach problems. Ginger is well known to help reduce nausea and some other stomach issues. These results showed that nickel is toxic to developing embryos via acting different mechanisms. In conclusion, we observed that zingerone and rutin have a greater effect on physiology, DNA damage, and apoptosis than gross morphology, with a significant ameliorative effect. Zingerone was ameliorating the nickel toxicity damage. Now, am I saying to go take rutin? No, I'm not saying that. And do I say you need to go take ginger during the detox? No, but if you were having a lot of stomach problems and you knew it helped, you could. But that's up to you. It's not something we're going to push. Okay, so we got that done. Now, one of the things I talked about last week was underwire bras causing nickel problems. So underwire bras, ladies, you know, they're not comfortable, right? And they often tear and break through the sides, right? But you literally, I'm going to be a little blunt here, right? Ladies, you get a lot of underboob sweat, right? This is just how it happens, right? You got skin on skin, you're going to sweat there. The sweat goes through the bra onto the nickel, dissolves some of the nickel, and then that comes back through, like you've got a little water connector between the stainless steel and the underwire and your skin. It's going between the two. It doesn't matter if the underwire is still completely in the bra. So a brief report from pediatric dermatology. So they have a picture here of nickel-associated brassiere underwire dermatitis. So the nickel is literally coming through the bra, because this is not where the underwire tears through, right? It tears through on the sides. Abstract. Underwire braziers with metal rim supports are a potential source of nickel exposure to consider. Awareness and avoidance of such may also help prevent nickel sensitization. Wait. Avoidance of exposing yourself to nickel can help you avoid nickel sensitization. No, it's nickel toxicity. It's always been. Again, they keep trying to make this excuse of sensitization and nickel allergy. It's not. It's just that person's gotten too toxic in nickel. And then they get, let's say, eczema, and they can either reduce their vitamin A or they can reduce their nickel, and they can potentially get rid of the eczema because they're all connected now. You understand? So, again, piercings with nickel-releasing jewelry have long been considered a major exposure source for sensitization in children and women. It's toxicity. So anyway, ladies, I would stop wearing underwire bras if you are determined to keep your health and potentially not get breast cancer, because I think I went over, if I didn't go over it before, I'll go over it in a future one, but nickel and breast cancer are definitely connected. So let's go into something that was out there a long time ago. So this book, wait, Joe, did that show up like, anyway. This is an old book. When was this written? Dressed to Kill, the link between breast cancer and bras. Oh, so you can see it when I hit it, Joe, when I do this. It doesn't look great anyway. Okay. Well, anyway, this is the book. Oh, it's not going to center very well. So this is the book. Now, there's a lot of course, the modern medical establishment has to be like, this is BS. There's no way these are connected. Do you remember all those studies I went over earlier where it says nickel is carcinogenic? Nickel is carcinogenic. Especially back when this book was written, which is probably, I'm guessing, 20 years ago. I want to get out of this. Okay. Let me see when it was written. 1995, more than 30 years ago. It was kind of the thing, ladies, right back then, to be wearing underwire bras. Like that was what they were doing back then. Nowadays, they're starting to work on all these fancy high-tech bras that don't have the underwire, because underwires are not comfortable from what I've heard. So they wrote this book about, the bras are inhibiting the lymph flow of the breast. And I think the author stopped wearing bras and started massaging her breast, and she got rid of the lump in her breast or whatever it was. And then they started doing this research. Well, what if you're literally just putting a toxin into your skin, and maybe the massage helped her, maybe it didn't. She just removed the nickel. Okay. She stopped wearing the bras. She took away the nickel. How do we detox nickel? You stop putting the nickel in. So these observations are likely connected. They're just looking at the wrong thing. So am I a huge fan of bras? Not really. But ladies, if you're going to wear them, I mean, that's your choice. Just don't have nickel in them. So, oh yes, let's get to this one now. Nickel and the tonsils. So here we are. Nickel and the tonsils. This is going to blow your mind. Let me get to that window. I'm going to tell you this right now, folks. First of all, if you ever had braces, you've got nickel toxicity. Second, if you had to have your tonsils out, you're very nickel toxic. Okay, so what I did first, actually, that was the wrong one. This one. So I think I went over these papers, or at least this paper before. Let me make it a little bigger before Joe yells at me. Reference values for nickel concentrations in human tissues and bile. So they went over all these tissues, and I was pointing out, like, we have lots of people, especially women, with thyroid problems and adrenal problems. Hypothyroid and adrenal. Well, let's look at what has the most nickel storage by concentration in the body? Well, we've got lung at 173, thyroid at 141, adrenal at 132, and then the next closest is kidney at 62. Like a third of the lung and less than half of the adrenal. Do we have a lot of people out there who are tired? Okay, so these were dry weight. Okay, so they dried out the glands or the organs, and then they ground them up and they analyzed them and they weighed. They weighed them before they ground them up, right? Okay. And they wanted to say here, they provide the first demonstration that nickel concentrations in thyroid and adrenal glands are approximately equal to those in lung and are higher than in the other organs. And it also suggests that you get rid of nickel through the bile because that's how your liver poops out poisons. Yes, that's true. So now let's go to this next paper. I think Kelsey found this paper. Nickel content of human palatine tonsils, analysis of small tissue samples by flameless atomic absorption spectrophotometry. So now, this does not compare right directly. We're going to go over that. They were talking about nickel contamination from the surgical instruments, so they were trying to avoid that. The mean or average concentration of nickel in 15 tonsils, I believe these were people who had, nickel workers. 15 tonsils was 13.5 micro nanograms per 100 grams wet weight. So they didn't dry it out. So we got to figure out how to compare them. The mean nickel concentration in 8 different samples of the same tonsil was 5.6. So they had one tonsil and they took 8 samples from different areas. Okay. So what I did, so I'm going to admit this. I went to ChatGPT and I said, give me your best estimate from the data that's out there of how I can compare dry weight to wet weight of human organs, human glands. I'm not posting the whole chat here, but it basically said it's somewhere between 0.2 to 0.3. That was its best estimate. Okay. So I just went with 25%, 1/4. Okay, I just picked the middle, right? So even if it's off, if it's 0.2 or 0.3, we're still going to be close. And this is going to be crazy what you see here. Okay, so let's go down here. So we converted the tonsil value of that was the wet weight, right, to the dry weight. Because it's only one. We only have to convert one on this one. So the tonsil basically converted with a 0.25 conversion factor, 540 micrograms per kilogram dry weight. Let's compare that to that other paper now. 540 in the tonsils, 173 in lungs, 141 in thyroid. Oops, wait, let's go back. 132 in adrenals. Your tonsils are taking the hit for you, absorbing nickel. So if tonsils are getting bigger because they're soaking up more and more nickel, and tonsils and adenoids are also often related to restrictive breathing, and restricted breathing is often related to sleep apnea. Are we figuring out the sleep apnea problem too? If you out there, for those of you who are out there, if you had your tonsils removed and other health issues went away, I would love for you to comment in the live chat or in the comments after this video is done. Like if you had your tonsils removed and other health problems went away, it's not because of some nebulous immune system getting better. They literally took it. Think about if you started detoxing nickel. What's going to come out? Where's it going to come out of a lot? What's that nickel cough again? Wait. Is there a place where it might be coming from? Like your tonsils and adenoids? So again, I'm just telling you, like if you had braces, which I did, you're nickel toxic for sure. And if you had your tonsils out, you had a chunk of nickel removed, but you're nickel toxic too. So now this was a really fun study. This is wild. So let's go to the next paper. The toxicity of human tonsils. Now, this is an old paper. When was it? 1913. So I can't highlight this. It won't let my highlights stay. But the relation of the tonsils to diseases of other parts of the body is a much discussed subject. So among these, Kyle emphasizes asthma. Hey, Matt Stone, if you're watching this, back in 1913, they were associating the tonsils with asthma, and here we are associating nickel with asthma and tonsils. Okay. He considers the possibility of the absorption of toxic substances from the tonsils. So asthma being like toxic stuff from the tonsils going back into the lungs. The lungs were the second most toxic and nickel part of the body. Okay, Shiasny reports a case of recurrent bronchial asthma in which the removal of the tonsils resulted in the cessation of the attacks. They took out a chunk of toxicity. The frequency of convulsions in children and of so-called epileptiform attacks in young individuals with hyperplastic lymphadenous systems, I believe they just mean a bunch of swollen lymph nodes, has led to some speculation as to the relationship of the condition of such attacks. So they're saying, oh, this looks like toxicity, and epilepsy might be related to toxicity. Well, there is a couple of papers in the research about epilepsy going away, or no, nickel workers getting epilepsy. And then we know from the research and from our own testimonials that we've had people and their epilepsy seems to go away as they get vitamin A out of them. Wow, the same toxin connecting again. Okay. Here we go. Fignero reports a case of epilepsy in a boy of 13 who had no further attacks during the period of 4 years following the removal of his adenoids. Wait, so are they saying the epilepsy came back because he became toxic again? Or is that all they monitored him? Okay. The idea of absorption of toxic substances through the tonsils is supported by the changes of chronic tonsillitis. Davis mentions the action of toxins as a possible explanation of the plasma cell infiltrations in tonsils. So we're going to skip on this. I just want to show you guys what happened. So what they did, we'll see if we can find it quickly. The work, the results of which we now report, was undertaken to determine first whether or not there are toxic substances in the tonsils. Remember, this is 1913. This is before they even discovered vitamin A, the first vitamin. Second, if present, the nature of those substances. And third, the factors influencing the degree of toxicity. They got tonsillectomies, tonsils from tonsillectomies. They did not say that these were sick people. Maybe it was, they took out their tonsils, so they're probably sick. We'll give it that. They ground them up, mixed them with 10 cc of salt solution. Then they filtered it. And then they looked for bacteria by growing it on agar plates, because that's how they do that. And I want you to pay attention to what they did. They're going to inject tonsils. I want you guys to remember, first of all, what's the cancer treatment approach, the very alternative cancer treatment approach where they basically have you slugging like fresh vegetable juice all day, and they used to give injections of liver extract. They still do it down in clinics down in Mexico, where people are juicing like all day. What's it called? Joe, have you found it yet? Gerson, the Gerson therapy. Yes. They used to give injections of liver extract to people. Okay. And it didn't kill them. Oh, Joe, they didn't eat liver. They literally injected liver extract. This is the old days. They stopped doing that. They literally injected liver extract. Okay. And they just made a tonsil extract. Injecting cow liver extract into people didn't kill them. But watch what happens when they inject tonsil extract into animals. A rabbit received 2 milliliters, 2 cubic centimeters of tonsillar extract IV. After 1.5 minutes, it urinated, jumped several times, fell on one side, jumped again, had clonic movements, and died. A guinea pig received 4 cubic centimeters of extract intravenously. Sneezing followed by convulsions within 30 seconds after injection. Temperature after 1.5 minutes, 100.7. Respiration ceased after 2.5 minutes. It died. Female dog, that's about 20 pounds, received 5 cubic centimeters IV, convulsions, urinated, defecated, vomited within 2 minutes, recovery within 5 minutes. Remember how I just told you Gerson was literally injecting people with liver extract, and they were with beef liver extract, and they were living. They were not doing all of this. And we just went over how the tonsils are like 3 times more toxic than the lungs, which is the next highest thing. It was noted that of the animals injected with toxic extracts, which they all were, the rabbit usually exhibited, besides the symptoms noted, a marked exophthalmos. That's like the bug eyes of hyperthyroid, the eyes that bulge out, and contracted pupils. Okay. In no instances were evidences of embolism or thrombosis found. So they weren't throwing clots. They weren't clotting up. They were actually not clotting. The coagulation of the blood was delayed. Okay. Toxicity was not changed by freezing the tonsils. What wouldn't change with freezing? Toxic metals? It is evident from the protocols that the symptoms and changes in the animals resemble very much the conditions found in anaphylactic shock in rabbits, guinea pigs, and dogs. So they said here that Friedberger found that anaphylatoxin, that's just, back then, they described anaphylaxis and they thought there's a toxin that does it. So they called it anaphylatoxin. So this guy found that it was destroyed by heating to 65 degrees. Heating our extracts to 60 to 65 degrees Celsius diminished their toxicity markedly however, it did not render them entirely harmless, since a rabbit who received 2 cubic centimeters intravenously had convulsions within 30 seconds and died within 2 minutes. So the toxin that they thought they broke down, it was still affecting the rabbit. The same that was the normal extract. This is the one that they heated. The same quantity of the same extract heated to 65 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes produced uneasiness after 1 minute, slight twitching after 3 minutes, mild convulsive movements after 5 minutes, and death. Still killed the rabbit. Just slower. So they passed it through a filter. They still use Berkefeld filters for water filtration. I believe they were created in the UK. So they ran it through a filter. Then they injected it. A rabbit that received only 1 cubic centimeter IV. Okay, let me hold on, Joe. Let me get back there. Hold on. Okay, Joe put up that comment. Okay, my daughter had her ears pierced around 12 and they got infected. Then she got constant tonsillitis for 1 year. Her tonsils got hemorrhagic and had to be removed. No more health issues. I mean, think how close your ears are to your tonsils, right? I'm guessing the lymph like almost drains practically right there. It's all in the same area. So yeah. And so when they freeze the tonsils, I don't know if you guys have heard of that over in Europe. There's some I don't know what the word for them is, but there's some doctors who freeze the tonsils there. What would freezing the tonsils do? Well, it definitely slow the metabolism in them. Might kind of lock the stuff inside. Let's say they don't start moving anymore. They're not really pushing stuff out anymore. I don't know. But is it doing something to the toxicity that is in those tonsils? Yes. So, yeah, very interesting. Let's keep going. So they passed it through a filter. Rabbit died within a minute. Guinea pig got the same dose as the rabbit intracardially in the heart and showed jerky respirations. Guinea pig got 1 centimeter and showed no symptoms. So the bigger the animal got, look, rabbit was the smallest, died in a minute. Guinea pig got the same amount, had symptoms. And then another guinea pig got 1 and then it showed no symptoms. Oh, so this one got it in the heart and showed respiration, breathing difficulties. One got it IV, which spreads it out faster and showed no symptoms. So the more they spread it out or the bigger the animal gets, the more they can take the toxicity. Not infrequently, as is also illustrated by this result, it was found that some extracts which were fatal for rabbits were far less toxic for guinea pigs. So then they said Friedberger and Hartog have also shown that hypertonic, as in stronger than, more concentrated than the salt concentration of the fluid they're putting it into in the body. So they're putting in like a slightly more concentrated salt solution into the body than your own like blood or your own fluids. Okay. Previously injected, so they put this into the animals first, protected them against anaphylactic shock. Injecting animals with sodium water protected them from anaphylactic shock. That's interesting. Hypertonic salt solution also protects animals against the action of tonsil extracts. They're both toxicity problems. So when they gave, let's see, 2 cubic centimeters of a certain extract killed immediately. So they knew that it killed, like, let's say the rabbit immediately. The injection of 1 and 1.5 cubic centimeters, 1.5 mils of 25% sodium chloride solution intra IV caused a few clonic convulsions within 1 minute or so, followed by complete recovery, and protected fully against 2 cubic centimeters of tonsil extract given immediately after the convulsion. What's it doing? I don't know. Can we use something, something else to protect against something else? Yeah, of course. Oh, and then this is a very important thing. Friedberger and Mita found that by injecting slowly, twice the fatal dose of anaphylatoxin can be given. So this anaphylatoxin, if you give it slowly, you can double the dose it takes to kill the animal. How does this work in our world? This is the part that people don't understand. They'll say, well, vitamin D is only toxic because the mice and the rats eat so much of it. They take it in too fast. Humans take their pills and they slowly accumulate it, and then they get problems over time. They're still soaking up the toxin. It's just coming in more slowly, so it takes them longer to become toxic. What did they just say? This is true of toxic extracts of tonsil also. A rabbit was injected at intervals of a few minutes with a half cc dose. In all, 6 doses were given, a total of 3 cubic centimeters. The animal remained unaffected. The rabbits were dying at, I think it was either 1 cc or 2 cc's before. The same extract injected immediately afterward into 2 animals in doses of 1 1/2 and 2 cubic centimeters proved rapidly fatal to both. So when they put it in fast, both 1.5 and 2 killed rapidly. Half a cc given every, a minute? Intervals of a few minutes. So 2 minutes, and they gave 6 doses. So that was over 12 or 15 minutes. They gave 3, and there was no problem. What does your body do with toxins as they come in? It pulls them out of, what do I constantly say here? Your body will pull the toxins out of the blood so it does not affect your heart and it does not affect your brain. If they inject the toxins slow enough, the body will pull the toxins out of the blood into the tissues to save your life, to save the rabbit's life. This is how it works. This is your body choosing the long, slow death over the quick, short death. If it's able to. If it comes in too fast, it's done. Okay. So basically, That's what we got. I think that's about it. This is all the bacteria they found growing in it, but we don't need to go over that because they thought it was bacterial. It's toxic. Oh, and they did say that some tonsil extracts were more toxic than others. Yes. So, conclusions. Extracts of tonsils are acutely toxic for animals. These substances affect animals in a manner similar to that of anaphylatoxin. The relation of the toxicity of tonsil extracts to the bacterial flora demands further study. Didn't we go over how nickel grows? Certain bacteria love nickel last week. The results of this work, however, would indicate that as a rule, extracts of those tonsils are most toxic, which are associated with hemolytic streptococci. Okay. So that is today. Pretty crazy, huh? Like, what if we literally just figured out tonsillitis? So yeah, and cavities and the cough and cancer and, you know, just all these things. Okay. So I have a super chat here from Mike Nell. He said, thank you for the super chat, Mike. He says, no gallbladder, pooping right after I eat, loose. The first thing that's easiest to do about that is you got to eat less fat. You're going to have to watch your fat. If you don't have a gallbladder, you got to watch your fat. And then the other things, I do have Joe, I don't know if you can find it easily. If you search gallbladder as one word in the titles, or maybe I can, we actually have an episode on what to do if you have your gallbladder's removed. Yeah, there it is. I got it, Joe. So I would, let me put that in the chat. Where's the chat? There we go. Okay, so that episode, that's where we go over what to do if you don't have a gallbladder. It's not the easiest stuff in the world, but yeah. Okay, so we got that. That's where I would do. That's where I went over all this stuff. It's kind of long to go over here, and I want to make sure I went over it all in there. So, okay, let me look at the chats. Hello, Beth. Oh, I wanted to tell you guys, for those of you who are in the Love Your Liver program, or if you're not in the Love Your Liver program, the feedback and the reviews and the testimonials of the group, the weekly group, the Deprogramming Your Health group in the Love Your Liver program, the feedback has been amazing. And I can tell you that I've done a couple sessions with Beth, and her private sessions are amazing. I highly recommend them if you want to work on mental emotional health issues or mental emotional issues that you may have. However it's affecting your life, I highly recommend it. We'll put the link. I don't know if we have the link to her stuff right now. Beth, if you want to put it in the chat, if you're here, go ahead. We'll put it in the info box below. And yeah. I want you guys to remember, all of us have mental emotional issues, spiritual, mental, emotional, whatever you want to call them. We all have them. We don't tend to figure out how to fix them by ourselves. We tend to need help from others. And the reality of this is that if you have mental emotional issues that are affecting your health and you don't address them, they will not get better, and they generally only tend to get worse. So if you've done every single health approach out there, including this one, and you're slowly getting worse, it's not the health approaches at that point. It's up here. Some people don't want to get better. Some people literally They don't admit it. They would never admit it. They may not realize it, but they literally cannot get better because that's part of their identity. And if they get better, then they're like, why are people going to pay attention to me? Like, why am I going to get, how am I going to get sympathy? How, all sorts of reasons. If you're constantly not getting better, or you get better a little bit on each thing you do, and then you get worse, and then you get a little better, and then you get worse, and then you constantly are kind of on a downhill slope, changing your diet won't fix it. I do personal growth work and that kind of stuff because I have issues. We all have issues. Nobody is without issues. So however you choose to work on it, whether it's with Beth or somebody else, I want you to realize that once it's almost nobody does it. A lot of people here would be shaking their head. Yeah, it totally affects people. And then you go, are you going to go do it? And they go, no, I don't need it. The more you think you don't need it, the more you need it. So, because the people who understand it go, yeah, oh yeah, it's cool. I already do it. The people who are like, no, I don't need it. I remember it, honestly, my dad growing up, my dad thought he would never go to anybody to get any help with his issues because he said, well, I'm probably smarter than that therapist or that counselor. And what are they going to tell me that I don't already know? And as I got older and I watched my dad, I was like, Dad, you got issues. Like, go get some help. So watching him avoid it, one of the things as I was growing up is I was like, I'm not going to avoid that. So that's just, the more you think it isn't mental, the more it is mental. So anyway, moving on. Oh, Sam asked, why does nickel seem to affect appetite so much? This is actually what I was talking about with the ginger. Oh, and ginger helps with appetite, right? Because it helps with the nausea. Why does nickel affect appetite so much? I don't know. I think it just makes your stomach upset, so you don't want to eat. I mean, that's what GLP-1s do, right? They do the opposite. They just slow down your gut, and then so the food stays there and you don't want to eat. So you become like a walking skeleton. So avoid GLP-1s. I have a whole episode on semaglutide, folks. The pharmaceutically tweaked Gila monster poison that they're trying to get everybody on. They're saying it's the next, it's such a revolution in medicine. It's like jabs. They're like, it's on the level of jabs. And I'm like, oh, they just told us the game, didn't they? So, yeah. But yeah, why does it affect the diet? Like when I had, so I don't know if you guys remember the COOF study I went over where they found in people, the more severe the COOF, the more nickel and cadmium they were peeing out. Well, what's the antagonist to nickel and cadmium? Oh, it's zinc again. So I can tell you that when I had whatever it was, whatever the COOF was, I got it. It's 10 days of suck. And I can tell you that the last 5 days, nausea was my worst symptom. And you want to know what helped that nausea and the appetite? I got some like the legit like Reed's ginger beer, the strong ginger ale from the store. And that finally shut down the nausea and I could eat. I lost it was 14 days. I was sick and I lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks during that. So, because I wasn't eating very much. But then ginger helped, and we just went over how ginger counteracts nickel, and the worst COOF people had increased nickel in their blood and their urine. What a coinky dink, right? So, Joe mentioned this earlier. Joe found they had, Joe just wanted to mention they have some stainless steel silverware that is 18/0, which means it has no nickel. So, Joe, I don't know if you can find the brand or you want to mention it in the chat or whatever. But yeah, so 18/0 means there's no nickel in it. And they have it at Costco. So, okay. But yeah, it definitely affected my appetite. It affected Kelsey's appetite, the nickel detox. Absolutely. I remember kind of telling Kelsey, I'm like, you got to eat. Like, please eat, babe. Like, I know you don't feel like it, but get something down. And she worked on that. She did good. So, okay. Archon of J Day says, I gave up chocolate and raspberries. The chocolate thing is a big deal. That's a really big deal about nickel. VSXX said, I would love to join. Are you running any discount on the Love Your Liver program currently? No, we don't run discounts on the Love Your Liver program. It is, as people say, it is the most comprehensive and all-encompassing, well, not all-encompassing, but the most comprehensive health program they've ever come across. And it's my life's work. So no, we don't tend to run a lot of specials on it. And if you don't want, for those of you who can't pay or don't want to pay, there are people who have watched all of the live streams. They have binge watched all the live streams, and thank you for doing that. And I appreciate it. I'm glad you got some of that. And they've said they pretty much got everything out of the Love Your Liver, almost everything out of the Love Your Liver program from the free live streams that they got out of the program. So you can do free and invest your time, or you can pay and get the fire hose of information all put into one place for you. So that's kind of, and for those of you who are wondering when I'm going to get the nickel stuff in there, as you can see, I'm still accumulating stuff about what to do with the nickel, like the Pectaclear thing and the insomnia. So I got to tell people about that. So we're still figuring out exactly what to do and accumulating all the things to do. So that will come out. There will be more info in the Love Your Liver program. I will probably put out some sort of free ebook on how to do the low nickel stuff. And then later I will probably come out with an actual book on nickel toxicity and how it all came about. But I'm still accumulating that. Like this next week, we're going to go over the changes in nickel in our environments and our food chain and all of that stuff since about the 1970s. And guess one of our favorite compounds is involved in nickel heavily, glyphosate. What a coincidence that glyphosate is involved with nickel too. So yeah. Oh, Sam, were you saying, Sam was saying to Joe, your appetite increased a lot on low nickel and binding with Pexol, or the lack of appetite increased on low nickel and binding with Pexol? Oh, Copper Sucks said sodium alginate mix is fine. Put it in a blender with apple pectin and anything sugary, example of banana, won't even notice it. I'm not blending stuff. I'll be honest. There's certain stuff, like if people wanted to take alginate 3 times a day and blend it 3 times a day, more power to you. But like, certain people will do certain things for their health. Like certain people will they'll have bigger buy-ins for their health. They are willing to do more. And most people aren't willing to even use a blender. Some people out there don't even know how to use a blender, much less read the Love Your Liver program. I can't help them. But yeah, if you want to blend alginate, you can do that. But as 2 grams, you basically, if you take 6 Pectaclear, you're getting around 2 grams of alginate. So you'd be looking at 6 grams of alginate in a day. And I can tell you that mixing it in water, that's a lot of alginate and it's pretty nasty. So up to you. Okay, so Joe asked Sam, is your appetite growing? And he said, yes. So yeah, the Pexol is helping. Imagine that. Like I said, we'll have the Pexol and the Pectaclear in the shop very soon. Archon of JD said, after trying calcium disodium EDTA, careful with that. That's with the Keystone Minerals plus niacin, I'm going to be recommending it to the rest of the world. I hope you're prepared to scale up your sales. We are working on marketing stuff, and we are working on Keystone Minerals is one of our biggest products. Just I would suggest that you do Pectasol way over EDTA or DMSA or any of the pharmaceutical chelators. They do take out good minerals. Do not doubt that. They absolutely take out good minerals. My mother got 10 EDTA IVs by a naturopathic doctor in town when I was just kind of going, it was early on, and I was like, she heard about it. Somebody told her about it, and she was like, I want to go do this. I was like, okay, fine. So she goes and does it. Months later, I was remiss and I wasn't testing her. Months later, we ran our normal blood tests on her. She has, to this day, the lowest zinc in blood tests I have ever seen. I think, if I recall correctly, she was at 22. And those of you who know me, I want people above 100. Most people are in like 80s, 70s, maybe 90s. And then we can get them over 100 with supplementing for a while and getting the toxic stuff out of them. And you always take the day of the blood test off from your zinc, and you take the day before the blood test off from your zinc. You don't take zinc the day of the test, and you don't take zinc the day before the test, or else then you'll get higher zinc numbers, and it's not what we're looking for. But anyway, yeah. As my environmental medicine, basically the detox instructor in my naturopathic medical school said, he's like, oh, these chelators, they take out good minerals, and they always gave people minerals with them. So you're saying you're taking EDTA and the minerals and you're feeling good. The EDTA is taking the good stuff out of you. You'll feel, I would suggest Pectisol or Pecticlear. I would not mess with the pharmaceutical chelators. Just like with where they say that disulfiram chelates nickel. Well, it may lower the blood levels, but it's literally shoving it into the brain and other fatty tissues. So yeah, it did remove it from the blood, but it didn't help get rid of it. That's always the really important thing about detox is you got to know that it's actually getting rid of something. But if it's getting rid of good stuff at the same time, don't want to shoot yourself in the foot with that. Okay. Copper Suck says, can confirm I've noticed a trend with alginate and worsened sleep. Thanks for the heads up about taking it earlier. Yeah. I took my 10 pills this morning. I'm still taking it. I love this stuff. I think there's just a reason why, like for normal people or for people who just can't be bothered to blend drinks once a day or 3 times a day. Because alginate does not mix with a spoon. We'll put it that, or you got to mix it. I think I found on ChatGPT, you have to mix the alginates with a 6-to-1 ratio of other stuff that doesn't clump. So that could be, like, just as examples, you could mix it with sugar. Can you mix it with Pectisol? No, you can't. You could mix it with maybe sunfiber, because sunfiber doesn't clump. But still, a scoop of sunfiber is only about 7 grams, and you could get a gram of alginate in that ratio with 1 scoop of sunfiber. So that's not going to go very far. So anyway, if you want to do the alginates, that's fine. You can get sodium alginate and potassium alginate. You can mix them half and half and get both of the electrolyte ions in there if you want. But there's a reason why the Pecticlear is easy and it works. And all you got to do is test out some alginate to find that out. So, okay. Okay, so Sam says Pectisol, not the Pecticlear, is making me sleep a lot more. Well, if you're still in the middle of the detox, you never know exactly what's doing it. But if the I don't know if that's a good thing for you or not, Sam. Okay, Mr. Captain, you're going to want to watch one of the previous episodes on nickel toxicity where I go over the Pecticlear stuff, because I don't have time to go over the whole thing a day. But is that during the hardest part of the detox and potentially in the prep, yeah, we talk about 6 pills of Pecticlear 3 times a day. Or if you're going to front load your day, move it all to the front of your day. So you don't, if you were concerned about sleep issues, or if you got some sleep issues, most people don't get the sleep issues. Somebody just commented that they took it at 8:30 at night and they had some weird dreams, but they slept fine. So, but yeah, the Pecticlear is not cheap. I'm not going to say it's cheap. It's not cheap. The nickel detox symptoms, I'll put it this way. People have said it's worth the money to get out of the suffering of the brutality of harsh nickel detox symptoms. So you're probably detoxing faster too, because if you're not having the symptoms, it means it's carrying it out of you more. One of the things that the alginate does, alginate stays in your gut. It's very good at grabbing nickel. So if it grabs the nickel in your gut, and we have a lot of people with gut symptoms as they detox nickel, if it grabs the nickel in your gut, it means you're pooping it out and you're not reabsorbing it into the system, that then you have to try to get it out again. That's why the Pecticlear reduces symptoms so much, is because it reduces the reabsorption of the toxic stuff that's in your gut, especially the nickel, because that's what we're dumping so much. So you don't have to do Pecticlear. You don't have to do anything during the nickel detox. You might want to look around at some of the symptoms of people who are going through the low nickel detox who are already in our world. And it sucks for a lot of people. It sucked for me. It sucked for Kelsey. Like, as I was going through it, I was just like, you want to know what I honestly thought? So if you think the Pecticlear is expensive, as I was going through the worst parts of the nickel detox, I was saying to myself and to Kelsey, I said, I have to find something to make this easier or no one's going to do it. That's how bad it was. I was like, nobody's going to want to do this. This sucks. Kelsey was a couple days behind me, and then it hit her and she was like, oh my God, this sucks. Like, people will not do this. She's like, I won't tell people to do it because then I'm going to be troubleshooting it. And I knew the same thing. So that's, and I tell people, you don't have to take a dang thing. You can do the low nickel diet you can do it naked. You don't have to spend any money. You may have a horrible time. And I will tell you that we had somebody who was having a horrible time. They started the nickel diet. Their arthritis symptoms got really bad. They added Pectisol. It helped. And then I figured out the Pecticlear thing. And I said, get on Pecticlear. And then that's the person who's symptoms still were there, but they were much, much better. And she said the Pecticlear was absolutely worth the money. So all up to you. Okay, so Mike Nell was saying, started the detox about 3 months in. I have no gallbladder, but now I'm starting to poop a lot almost right after I eat. Well, you're going to want to, if you're getting a lot of diet, just watch that episode. Watch that episode. Yeah, and watch your fat intake. And now that you know about nickel toxicity, if you're doing the original Love Your Liver, where we were doing whole grains and beans for the soluble fiber, you're going to have to adjust that down. You may need to get some binders in your gut, like charcoal or zeolite or Pecticlear or something to grab onto that bile, because your body's wanting to poop out that bile because it's really toxic. Your liver's just pumping it out like straight into your guts, and it's irritating your guts, and then your body poops it out because it doesn't want to reabsorb it. So, oh, there's Kelsey. She says EDTA can escort heavy metals deeper into the body. Unfortunately, these pharmaceutical chelators are not where you want to go. Yeah, she added, chelation of heavy metals doesn't always mean they'll get detoxed. It may make them more absorbable in some cases. Yeah, the thing to know about the word chelation is chelation just means claw. It means it grabs onto it, it pulls it out of the tissues into the blood, but that doesn't mean it leaves. And just because blood levels went down or urine levels went down doesn't mean that it left. Actually, this is one of the papers I went over. It might have been dithiocarbamate, the sodium dithiocarbamate that I talked earlier. That's a breakdown product of disulfiram. And they said, we tried giving a strong nickel chelator to people. They were just on their normal diet to see if it would pull nickel out into their urine. And they said it didn't do anything. So they said the nickel must really be stuck in there. Okay, well, we just found out that disulfiram and probably the dithiocarbamate can put nickel back into the tissues. And then we already know now that if you do a low nickel diet, your body is happy to kick it out. We also know that if you don't do a low nickel diet, your body will continue accumulating nickel and it won't detox it very well at all. That's why it didn't show up on my original hair tests. And then all of a sudden I go on a low nickel diet and my number went up by 7 times, which is in another video. Okay, is that I think that's most of them. Oh, Sam Cohoon says, the cheap money for the lower classes was always made of copper and nickel. Heather Parker said, I combine Pectisol with alginate and put it into capsules 4-1 respectively. Well, just so you know, the Pecticlear is 3-1, or it's 2-1. Yeah. Sergio Hormoni did super chat. Thank you, Sergio. He said, I got some apple pectin. Does it cause bloating? Thank you. Any fiber can cause bloating. Apple pectin. So for those who are wondering why I like the alginate, and they're like, why don't you just talk about pectin? Or somebody said apple pectin is better than sun fiber. Okay. Apple pectin is what's called a rapidly fermenting fiber, which means your gut bacteria can feed on it quickly. The faster fermenting a fiber is, the more it can cause gas and bloating. Sun fiber is a slow fermenting fiber, and it causes less gas and bloating. And it feeds the lactobacillus. Again, so it also gets, sun fiber gets further down in your colon, so it can feed the probiotics that are further down in your colon, not just the ones towards the top. So being that fixing the gut biome is an important thing, as part of the low nickel diet, you don't have to do anything other than the low nickel diet. But if you wanted to help it out, the apple pectin can help with pooping. Apple pectin gives you some bulk in your poop because it swells, it gels. But I'm going to be honest, as I've gotten past the roughest parts of the nickel detox, I'm not doing much apple pectin anymore because honestly, it makes me fart a lot. So I was like, I'm pooping really well now again, now that I'm over the hump. So I'm like, I'm not going to take a bunch of apple pectin if it's going to make me fart. I can just do sun fiber and eat food and poop. So, okay. What is Archon of JD says, I formally invite Garrett and the internet to Caribou Con in Canada. CIA has no jurisdiction there, so I'll be setting up a table to fundraise for my nonprofit and saving the world twice. You're welcome. Okay, cool. I will look into it. Archon of J-Day asks, what other products would you recommend testing to flush the metallic synthetic bacteria from the body so I can email things for the nanotoxicologist to try as alternatives or additives to EDTA? I don't have anything. We continue to help people's health improve by working on the principles that we work on. I personally think that kind of living in fear of metallic synthetic bacteria infesting people and living in your body all day is probably more harmful than if there are actually metallic synthetic bacteria. Because if they are there, and then people are constantly feeling like they're literally self-poisoned. This is why I had to stop talking. I stopped talking about my son's braces causing him his pain problems. He's like, Dad, that's not going to help me. I can't get rid of them until 4 more weeks. I was like, you know what? That's true. So I'm not going to make him obsess on this because it's already there. Why make him think about it more and obsess on it? And then then he could make it worse by thinking about it. So there's probably something, if these things are real, it's a big if, they probably need to survive on something that we're putting in that the bad guys want us to put in that might be, I don't know, conductive, magnetic, things like nickel, things like copper, things like iron not doing what it's supposed to, and things like aluminum. So we fix those issues. We've seen people crap out parasites without having to kill parasites. So I don't completely jump on the metallic. I don't know which flavor of the month it is in terms of, is it metallic nanoparticle synthetic bacteria or whatever. We keep getting people better and we don't address that. So it's like people who think they have parasites and they start doing our program and they get better and they're like, did they actually have parasites? Or was it something, did we stop feeding the parasites and they died off on their own? Or did they not actually have parasites? They just believed it because of what they read on the internet. I don't know. But you asked me to humor you hypothetically. That's my humor on this. Oh, Sam Jones said he had 0 caffeine tolerance when he was badly nickel toxic. Yeah. Fernando Espin asks Kelsey, how good is zeolite for nickel detox? I don't know if she got to that, but I will say zeolite is good for nickel when it's in your gut. So if you're having gut symptoms, zeolite grabs onto, I think Kelsey found a paper that was about 90%. And I had a period of time where my stomach was upset and I took some zeolite and it wiped it out. So if you're having a lot of stomach symptoms on the program, remember Pecticlear is capsules. So capsules can slip by the stomach because they may or may not break down depending upon how good your digestion is. They may slip by and not do a lot of good for your actual stomach. Zeolite's a powder, so it coats everything on the way down and it's grabbing on a nickel. So zeolite's really good for the detox symptoms, the nickel symptoms in the gut. Okay, LeBrad Pass, another super fan, dropping in to say hi. Can't wait to catch up later. Oh, lucky you, Landscaping said my caffeine tolerance was horrible before. Love your liver. This is what we do. We fix the liver, and then all of a sudden, toxins are more tolerable. Actually, a lot of people, you guys can comment about this if you want, is their pain tolerance goes up. Things that used to hurt don't hurt as much anymore. So the more toxic and inflamed you are, the more pain you get from the same thing. So if you're in a lot of pain, I mean, the level of pain you're having from whatever, as you get less toxic, will be less just by nature of you being less toxic. Jackie saying, can we have a few more likes and appreciation, please? Thanks. So yeah, like and subscribe, smash that like button, right? I'll do like everybody else. Oh, you know what you really want to hit is the hype button. Find the hype button on your YouTube under this video. I don't exactly know where it is, but find the hype button and push that. Okay, so we got another super chat. Let's see. Sam said, thanks. Bloating mostly gone on low nickel. It wasn't gas. It was weird fluid only bloating. Fixed my water. Instant hot taps are bad for you. Actually, oh, you guys, Kelsey did. I don't know what electric kettle Kelsey had, but Kelsey now has a nickel water testing machine. I bought it for her. I sent it to her. She tested her electric kettle. I forget. It added like 7 micrograms. The kettle added 7 micrograms per liter, I think it was, of nickel to the water. So she threw it out. I'm still looking at my electric kettle on the counter. I hardly ever use it, but I'm just sitting there going, oh, do I have to throw it out? And then I'm kind of going, I'll get something to heat it up on the stove, whatever. But yeah, the bloating and stuff, there was definitely, some people can get bloating during low nickel and that usually resolves itself. But if you're ever taking a fiber that just doesn't get along great with you, you may get some bloating. However, if we fix your gut biome through the low nickel, those same fibers that used to cause you bloating may not cause you any bloating. because the bloating is due to the specific types of bacteria and how they digest fiber and what fibers they're digesting. So, but yeah, one thing for you guys to know, again, YouTube, the comments and the likes and the subscribes and the live chat and all that stuff, YouTube likes those, but what YouTube really likes, remember, what is YouTube selling? They're selling ad space. So that's why I turned back on the ads, was because I knew that I wasn't going to get put out there very much if I'm not actually making any money for them, right? Why would they promote me if I'm not making any money for them? So there's that. And then there's what YouTube likes is watch time. So if you really want to help this channel, share it with people. Share it wherever you choose to, however you choose to. Share it with people. And then the more hours of it you watch, the more YouTube thinks that people like it, and the more it promotes it to other people, because it wants to promote things that people are watching, not that have tons of like cheap likes, because bots could do likes. So anyway. Oh, here we go. Janet Satcher 8 says 1 month on nickel and a small age spot peeled one day, left a pink area, not brown. I still have others not affected yet, but hopeful. Oh, and we've been over before. A lot of the age spot stuff is actually carotenoids and retinoids. That's why it's yellowish brownish. But again, you start doing the low nickel and your vitamin A detox increases, and then you can get rid of the old vitamin A. So we've seen the age spots and the liver spots go away before, just with the low vitamin A. But now we add nickel to it and we can hit both angles of it. Oh, Joe, you can put those, I'll do it. Sorry. Joe's website is back up. If you want to go check out Joe's website, health.forgivenesscapital.com and josephwilliambaker.com. So yeah, if you guys want to go check that out, go ahead. Oh yeah, we're not doing a 4-hour run. No, we're going to wrap this up pretty soon here. Who was it? Victoria said, hey friends, I have my 2 main lunches, low nickel. And honestly, I can live off of these beautiful foods. I have my low nickel meal 6 to 7 times a week and enough apples. Very good. Victoria said zinc. Archon of JD said, how would you explain the photosensitivity of fibro patients? More rod production in the eyes. We fix what's called photosensitivity all the time. It's vitamin A toxicity in the eyes. We've been fixing that. We got people who can be out in the sun all day and not burn anymore. When they used to burn, they used to have to wear sunglasses outside, or they'd get the photogenic sneezing. So when, you guys, we've all known people, maybe you guys are some of them, where they go outside and they sneeze like 3, 4, 5, 6 times. The light in their eyes triggers them sneezing. My son used to have that. He doesn't have it anymore. Other people have had it. It's gone. There is an entire study where they looked at fibro patients and they did the patch test to see which toxic metal they were sensitive to. And they also had them remove all of the metal in their mouths. And I think after 5 years, 50% of the fibro ladies, their fibro was gone. They just took the metal out of their mouths. So photosensitivity is the UV, the light is doing more damage in your eyes. It's more sensitive. It's more easily damaged. That's photosensitivity. We have IT guys, like literal IT guys, who spend all day staring at blue light screens. They used to have problems with doing that and their eyes would hurt and they'd have to wear glasses and whatever. And now they don't. Blue light cannot, this is in the research, blue light cannot damage your eyes unless there is vitamin A present. They showed this in a research study. You have to have vitamin A in your eyes for blue light to damage your eyes, whether it's the sun contains blue light or the blue light from your computer screens. So that's how I explain photosensitivity, because we fix it and we know what we do. Okay. Sam asks, what if the braces were many years ago? nickel doesn't detox until people go on a low enough nickel diet, and most people don't accidentally do it. Some people might do it with like a lot of there's like in the bodybuilding world, there's like beef and rice diets now. Or even the old bodybuilding diet of chicken and broccoli and rice. Those guys didn't eat much broccoli. They just ate some broccoli to help them poop. So that was generally probably a low nickel diet. But if you have health issues still, Sam, if you're having, okay, here's what you know. Here's what you can know. If you're having big nickel detox symptoms, you are quite nickel toxic. If you had braces in the past, that probably contributed to it. Do I know how much was still around? I mean, the more nickel you have, the more it slows down your detox. So the more then you accumulate of other toxins along the way. That's the problem. The more toxic you get, the slower your detox. So I started to think back, and I was like, did my health issues, like my middle back pain, my adrenal pain, I look back now and I go, did it start after I got those stupid braces? And I'll tell you, if it did, which I don't have it anymore, if it started after I got my braces, that means I had that problem until like at least my mid to late 40s. So, and my braces were teenage years. I had them in for 3.5 years. So, yeah. Ray Love says, I cut the wires out of my bras. Future bras I get will be wireless or nickel free. That is one approach. Yes. Joe said, could we get zinc wire in bras? Joe, I'm a guy. I'm not getting into the bra world. I'm going to let the women take care of that. But yeah, that would be interesting. But then you're trying to be a bra company selling tons of bras and then being like, oh, I guess you could market. You got zinc wire instead of stainless steel. Yeah, Joe said then you get healthier by wearing a bra by getting some zinc. LOL. Yep. Yeah, thank you, Christopher, for mentioning the Gerson during that time. I didn't see the chat, but Joe got the info to me. And this was okay. So let me do this in a different order. Okay, so Eve said she was the one who mentioned her daughter getting ears pierced, and then she got chronic tonsillitis, and her tonsils got hemorrhagic, had to be removed. No more health issues after that. And then she also added she can only wear gold earrings too, and she had braces. So there's reasons for this. Think of how many Americans have had braces and now have chronic health issues. So it doesn't just go away. It absolutely doesn't just go away. Just because you got, Kelsey, her daughter, she took out, she had a stainless steel crown on one of the baby teeth. And Kelsey went to the biological dentist near her and got that removed. Now, her daughter had some sinusy stuff before that, but all of a sudden, once the cap or the crown or whatever was taken out, all of a sudden her daughter's like phlegm and mucus coming out everywhere. So sometimes you can remove the thing and then you detox if you're in a good enough state. But otherwise, if people are doing like healthy diets with like, let's say, nuts and seeds and whole grains and beans and chocolate and all that stuff, that's why I keep trying to tell my son, I'm like, dude, get off the chocolate. Like you're going to get the braces off. Quit with the chocolate. And I think I remember him saying, I'll get off the chocolate once the braces are off, Dad. Cause then that'll work. I'm like, okay, whatever. Shanjack says, wasn't the vitamin D a catalyst / accelerant to another more primary toxin used to poison the rats? No, the literal active ingredient of, let me tell you the name of the rat poison. It's Tera D3. TERAD number 3. And the other rat poison is D-Con. D-CON. They use the word con in it. So they're telling you what it is. That's what it is. That is the active ingredient. And they, just so you know, they used to use warfarin, warfarin and Coumadin. They're the same thing. Used to be the main rat poison. But then some rats and mice became resistant to it. It didn't kill them well enough. So what did they upgrade to? What is the next level rat poison? It's D3. It's literally D3. Okay. Luca gave a theory on the rabbits and the injecting the salt solution. He said, I guess excess salt will cause osmotic imbalance, so kidneys will try to flush out sodium and water follows sodium. So since nickel is mainly detoxed through the kidneys, then they flush nickel too. Maybe. I'm going to say that what it probably is that by injecting a hypertonic sodium solution, water follows salt. That's the saying. So water follows minerals. They inject a bunch of minerals into your blood. What does that do? It pulls water to it. So your blood you get more blood, basically, more diluted blood. I mean, there's going to be plenty of sodium in it, but it pulls more water into your blood. So it can dilute the poison, right? That's what you can do to minimize poisons. You dilute them. So if you pull more stuff into the blood, because it's just going to pull water out of the tissues into the bloodstream, then you could, in theory, this is one way, this is a theoretical way that it could have helped, is it dilutes, it makes the blood volume basically bigger by the more salt there, it pulls more water to it, and then you have basically a bigger blood pool to dilute the toxin. Oh, Lisa B said she just purchased some earrings on Amazon that are ceramic, including the posts. I haven't received them yet. Okay. Well, come on again and let us know how it goes. Eve asks, Doc, what causes foamy urine? It's generally too much protein in the urine, creating what's called an increased surface tension. Why they're leaking? I mean, nickel's main detox pathway is through the kidneys. Vitamin A, we've had multiple people fix, severe kidney failure with the low vitamin A diet. So between the nickel and the vitamin A, that's what I'd work on. Yeah. But sometimes during the detox, foamy urine just happens. Like there's just detox going on. Like all you guys who've been doing this for a while will know that some days your pee will smell just weird. Sometimes it'll smell like vitamins. All of a sudden, you're like not taking vitamins. I've had that happen multiple times. Not taking anything like B vitamins or anything like that. And all of a sudden my pee smells like the old B complex. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. So, Ray Love added, I hear you, Elizabeth, lower back pains out of nowhere. That's your kidneys. Just so you know, that's referred pain from your kidneys. They're working hard. And she started menstruating again after 11 to 12 months of it stopping. Ray, I don't know if you were technically postmenopausal, but even during the low vitamin A, the main thing we were doing was low vitamin A, we did have women restart their periods. And some of you ladies out there may be like, oh my God, I don't want that to happen. And I understand that. However, fertility is one of the biggest markers of health that we have. So going from not menstruating, which is infertility by definition, to menstruating is a sign of health returning. So that's good. Okay, Brady Neeson says, over the past 6 months, I got my bilirubin test down from high 2s and 3s to just outside normal. Excited to see if the low nickel will get me into the normal range. Remember, bilirubin, bile-e-rubin. High bilirubin in the blood, too much leaking bile. What do we try to fix? Too much toxic leaky bile. What are we seeing here? I love the people who are out there like, Dr. Smith is wrong. Our toxic bile paradigm is wrong. And I'm like, okay, guys, have fun. You guys can spend time on your little private Telegram groups. But misery loves company, So miserable people find each other. Okay, and Brady said that was just from the Love Your Liver program. Now a month into low nickel. Oh man, that's gonna be really good when you get that test again, I bet. So see, we were doing good with the low vitamin A and the Love Your Liver before, and we had one issue that we didn't know about, which was the nickel. Now I'm starting to feel really bad for like long-term Karen Hurd people, where they're eating like 2 tablespoons of beans every half hour or hour all day long. I'm like, Oh, and lots of vegetables. You're my pass. I'm gonna pass on that. But she was getting people better too. But long term, they may be having problems, and more beans is not going to solve that problem. Okay. Oh, Joe, let me find that. Did we get the last super chat? Oh, let me get. Okay, Fernando gave a super chat. Sorry for missing that, Fernando. What's the probiotic sup name for lactobacillus? If you're looking for the one that we specifically went over, I think on 2 episodes, it's one word. It's BioGaia. BioGaia. And you can get either the chewables, which are for kids, or the capsules, which are for adults. But that's the BioGaia. I think it's BioGaia gastrus. Gastrus. So BioGaia is the company, and gastrus is the probiotic that's got the supposed the probiotic that helped in the study for people who had digestive symptoms from nickel problems, and it helped the digestive symptoms decrease faster than just the low nickel diet did. Oh, I'll type it in the chat, Joe. BioGaia gastrus. You can find it on Amazon. Let me know if that showed up, Joe. Did it? I typed it. Oh, let's do this. Here, I'll just find it. Wait. Takes about 15 seconds. Okay. We'll count it down, Joe. You just let me know if it shows up. I've got it copied and pasted. There it is. Okay, cool. Joe got it. Okay, so Shanjak, I think he's talking about the D3 and the rat poison. I'm just trying to understand why we're calling it the poison primary when the papers references a secondary thing. Is this an inference, or did I miss a few papers? Okay. I mean, we could even call it like almost tertiary, I would guess. Because, okay, so what happens is, how does vitamin D kill rats? The vitamin D induces hypercalcemia. So an excess of calcium in the blood. How does vitamin D suddenly increase calcium in the blood? It literally rips calcium out of the bones. But vitamin D builds bones. No, it doesn't. Vitamin D in excessive doses. Well, vitamin D, if there's not enough calcium around, it will either rip calcium out of the bones or it will pull it from the gut. Okay. Now, how does hypercalcemia kill mice and rats? Through massive internal hemorrhaging, because the hypercalcemia depletes vitamin K factors. Wait, what's the other big rat poison out there? Warfarin/Coumadin. What does that do? That's a direct vitamin K antagonist. So apparently, antagonizing or depleting the vitamin K in mice and rats is a good way to kill them. And you can do that either with a pharmaceutical, or you can do it with, well, technically another pharmaceutical, vitamin D3. Because if you look up who makes all the vitamin D3, it's all pharmaceutical houses. So that's how you can get to primary, secondary, tertiary even. Beth says, thanks for the great stream, Garrett. I have to run to start my own LOL, but if anyone is interested to connect with deprogramming their health, they can find me at bethmartins.com. So yeah, this was Beth. This was who I was talking about earlier and recommending. And she does her own podcast. So you can find, there's her on YouTube. So if you want to find her, just click on that or enter that in. I don't know. I'm assuming she's still doing the one with Dagmar. Great ladies. Big fans of the Love Your Liver program, and I appreciate them very much. And yeah, Beth. So just so you guys know, Beth does her group inside the Love Your Liver program for free. I get no affiliate fees from Beth. We have no monetary relationship at all. We just really like what each other do. So Beth says the Love Your Liver is already an amazing value. I mean, when you think of how many tens of thousands of dollars most of us have wasted on practitioners and supplements and juicing and whatever, $199 is like, for a lifetime membership. It's not $199 a month. It's not $199 a year. It's $199 lifetime. So all the nickel stuff will be in there. I'm just working on putting it together because, as you guys have seen, I might have talked a long time on nickel, and I got a lot of stuff to put together. So, okay. So this is Just Andy. Just Andy was the one who talked about it. He said, I just had another alginate body wash / shower, but 10 hours before bed. Let's see what happens. So Just Andy was one of the guys who said he was making his like shower slime with the alginate. Because Just Andy, I think you work in like an industry where you're exposed to a decent amount of nickel, right? So he was washing with alginate. And I believe he was saying he felt like it was helping. And then he also commented that after a while of doing it, that he said he thought it was messing with his sleep. And then my buddy was having issues with his sleep. And then another person, I won't mention their name, but they commented it, I think, in Kelsey's Telegram group, that he was having some issues. And then we started putting it together and going, okay, there's a pattern. And isn't that what smart people do, is pattern recognition? We started going, okay, there's something to this for some people, not everybody, but some people. And I started to think about it, and I went, I don't know that I actually have this issue, but I just moved it to the morning just because. And I got a little, I've had people say I shouldn't call myself lazy because they think I'm the opposite of lazy. But most of the times I won't take pills or make potions or do all that stuff more than once a day unless I'm actively feeling bad or feeling sick. So when I heard the thing about the Pecticlear, I was like, oh no, I'll just take 10 pills in the morning. I'll just put it all in one shot and do it then. And sometimes I take more Pectisol doses later in the day. But remember, I'm already past the hard part of the detox. I am well past the grind. So don't follow what I'm doing now as to what you're going to want to do during the active detox when you're in the suck. So if you have that, not everybody has it, but I'm also going to say a lot of the folks who don't seem to experience the nickel detox, I think there's stuff in their environment or in their diet that they're not removing that is a nickel problem. Like, let's say somebody had an electric kettle and they leave their water in there all the time. So it's soaking up nickel all day long. And then they heat the water and they just they keep refilling the water in it, right? Isn't that what we all do with those electric kettles? We just leave water in them and just keep putting water in it, putting fresh water in, and then it just sits. So maybe somebody's self-nickel poisoning with their electric kettle on a regular basis. And if they don't ever fix that, they don't ever really start the nickel detox, and they come here and they go, oh, I didn't really have any nickel detox symptoms. Maybe they didn't mention. We've had lots of people in the Love Your Liver program who just seem to forget mentioning that they're addicted to chocolate. They just leave that out. Or they start eating handfuls and handfuls of nuts and seeds and spoonfuls of nut butters or seed butters. And now we know why that causes a problem. I used to, when I was into the sort of paleo thing, I was on the late end of like the paleo days for me, but I decided that sunflower butter was okay, right? Because cavemen ate sunflower butter. And there was some days where I went through half of a jar just eating it because I liked it. And then I get the loose bowels. And now I'm going, okay, so was that a fat thing or was that a nickel thing? Because, they actually use sunflowers to remediate toxic soil. Like, they soak up so much toxicity that they use it to remediate soils of toxic metals and other things like that. So Careful with your nuts and seeds and whole grains and beans. So, okay. Sergio says, Doc, I'm still struggling with focus and ADHD symptoms. I got much better this past year, but I need to be sharp for business. Okay, doing the low nickel diet if you need to be real careful with what you jump into. This is why I warned everybody. As soon as I knew about it, I warned everybody about it. Like, so if you decide to do something, like, okay, I can tell you, Kelsey deals with some ADHD and she is much more productive now and she's focusing better. Sometimes I'm like, we message a lot and I'm like, where'd she go? Because she's off doing stuff for hours at a time. I did go over some research where ADHD is connected to nickel. So if you're going through the nickel detox and you're aggravating the ADHD is from nickel in your brain and it's coming out, remember where the nickel comes out from is where you get the symptoms. So nickel coming out of your brain is going to give you brain fog, mental emotional symptoms, that kind of stuff. So if you're having that, I mean, first of all, when you chose to start the low nickel diet, I didn't determine that. If you didn't know about it when you started, again, I'm going to say Pectaclear, like order it. I know you can get it in Europe. This is the thing. And if you look at it and you say, I can't afford it, I'm telling you, then that's the only, you can order some alginate and mix it in a blender and take that, multiple times a day, but you got to bind up the nickel in your gut do the Pectasol too. And if you're going to do the alginates on the side, do that or make capsules like somebody mentioned. But otherwise it's, some of the things we offer here to help would be like the magnesium lotion. Magnesium is an antagonist to zinc and magnesium helps you relax. And I'm pretty sure it's been shown good in ADHD. I think I did a whole ADHD show, didn't I? You got zinc, selenium. Those are both nickel antagonists. It's almost everything we do, everything we have done, and everything we found that's helpful is helpful in detoxing nickel. So all the stuff you guys have seen us do, in a certain way, we were doing the low vitamin A thing and we were fixing the toxic bile stuff, but everything we do is also antagonistic to nickel. So anything you see on our store is already antagonistic to nickel and it all makes sense. Like the sun fiber. What does nickel do? It screws up your gut biome. What does sun fiber do? It feeds your gut biome. What does zeolite do? Zeolite grabs onto all sorts of toxic metals in your gut and it definitely grabs onto nickel, but zeolite doesn't go systemic. Pectasol does go systemic. The Pectaclear with the added alginate stays in your gut and it grabs onto, it's Pectasol plus the alginate, so it grabs onto the bile and the nickel so it doesn't get reabsorbed. So like the niacin, we don't have direct niacin and nickel stuff, but some of the same conditions that nickel is known to cause, niacin helps to fix. So you guys, it's amazing when you look at the flush niacin research and you start looking at the poisonings and the other things that it helps save people's lives from, like IV niacin, when people are poisoned from mushrooms and like poisonous mushrooms and stuff like that. It's crazy. It's amazing that people would go out there and badmouth flush niacin because of like 8 case studies in 80 years from people who are on other medications at the same time and drinking. So anyway, if you're a flush niacin hater, I'm sorry, you're missing out. And niacin might help, Sergio. If you're not doing the flush niacin, that could help. I decided Kelsey suggested, she was like, I think you should do like I'm not advising any of you do this. If you choose to, that's fine. But I was talking to Kelsey about some of my stuff and she goes, I think you should do like a decently high dose of niacin 3 times a day for a month. And I was like, okay. So I could have done it with powder, but I was like, I'm not gonna mix up. I started to try it and I started doing the powder, and I was like, I told her later, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna mix up the powder 3 times a day. And she goes, this is what she said to me. You have plenty of pills. Take the pills. And I was like, oh, but I also have a giant bag of powder on my counter that I want to use up. Anyway, so I did the pills. Set the pills out today. And yeah. Oh, Matthew says, good morning, doctor from Australia. Hello, Matthew. Okay. I don't know how to say your first name. Orion Nesheim says sodium alginate binds nickel also along with lead, mercury, and a whole lot of other stuff. Yeah, maybe next week I'll go over the 5 case study paper on mainly Pecticlear and Pectisol helping people's health just in general. It's a pretty cool case study. Matthew Jones says, I've been listening to all the LYL podcasts. I'm up to 89. The old ones are a gold mine. Thank you. Well, at least the old ones are good, I guess, right? Eve says, should we avoid nuts? I eat pistachios. If you want to be low nickel, you avoid nuts. Simple as that. The highest fiber foods accumulate the most nickel. And then there's chocolate in there too, which chocolate's decently high fiber too. But whole grains, beans, nuts, seeds, chocolate. If somebody told me, give me the minimal list of foods that I need to avoid nickel, that'd be the short list. That's not all of them, but that's the short list. And anything made from those things. So like if you were crazy enough to drink soy milk, yeah, soy's a bean. And so juiced beans, don't eat them if you're trying to go low nickel. And soy is, I believe soy is a hyperaccumulator too. Isn't it? Somebody check. Anyway. Wait, I got my stupid chat got reset again. I don't know why this thing does this. Let me move this over. There we go. Orion says, did I cover sodium alginate? Yes, I did. It's mainly just that some people are sensitive to sodium alginate or alginates in general. If they take them too late in the day, it can mess with their sleep or, give them trouble falling asleep, maybe some palpitations, maybe some anxiety. So if you're having that kind of like palpitations, anxiety, trouble falling asleep initially, it might be the alginate. It could just be the nickel detox. Not going to lie. It could just be the nickel detox. But if you try moving all your alginate to like at minimum before 3 p.m., better is probably before noon, and see if that helps your sleep issues. That's what we talked about. Oh, wow. So I want to find, hold on. Orjon's giving some good comments. Where's the, there it is. Let me get down there. I want to find his comments because they're, oh, he's commenting from Twitter, isn't he? Oh, Sam was saying water nickel is 10 times more absorbed than food nickel. Yes. Matthew Jones says, has anyone got chrome pans to cook on? Chrome? I mean, even the nickel free ones are going to have chromium in them. They're going to have chrome, but the Home Chef, HOMICHEF, are the nickel free pans. Sam Jones says, what is this nickel machine and how do I get it? You're going to be looking at about $800. I'll find it. Oh, wait, let me do a new tab. I'll show you both of the things you got to get if you want to do this. And I don't know if Kelsey's going to be, if people are always asking, is Kelsey going to be testing stuff, like testing water samples? Kelsey's not a lab, and I don't think she's going to be doing anything like that. But maybe, I don't know. Okay. So here, Joe, I'm going to show this. This is the nickel. If you don't know how to use one of these, I can't explain it. Kelsey's, chemist and biologist. So she just found this and she was like, would you please buy this for me? And I was like, okay, no problem. It's not cheap, right? It's a write-off. But yeah, so I don't remember how much it was. I can look at the options. Let's see. Oh, the kit. The kit probably comes with the reagents, I'm guessing. Well, it says reagents sold separately, so I'm not sure. You're going to want to get the kit, which is then $600. And then they just said reagents sold separately, so you got to get the reagents here. This is another $250. So you're looking at $850 plus shipping. So it's not just like, for most people, it's not just like, oh yeah, sure, I'm just going to get a nickel tester. But you do get free shipping. So that's what we got. Okay. This is what I wanted. Orjon said, my neighbor's mom started detoxing and got really sick from removing her amalgam fillings, so the dentist put them back in. Next level insanity. Okay. We've had people have this before. The worst case we had, normally so folks, normally I tell people, if you're really sensitive, you might, if you have the time and the money, you might only do one amalgam at a time if you're really sensitive and your health is really rough. And if you wanted the easiest detox, like, right, this woman got really, really sick from removing her fillings. Now, what do fillings have in them? The metal, the mercury ones, or they call them silver. 3 of the things that we really don't want in our body: mercury, copper, and nickel. So don't want those. They put a permanent thing in your mouth if you got amalgam fillings in your mouth. So I do know that if you ever, so we had one woman take out 7 all at once. She got really sick. We were able to reduce it with, like, I think we were having her do either charcoal or zeolite swishes multiple times a day to grab onto the outer layer stuff. She increased her selenium to help with, back then I was mainly like, back then I only thought it was mercury that we were dealing with. I didn't realize we had copper stuff too and nickel stuff as well. So yeah, to put them back in is crazy. But I've seen it. So I suggest, okay, so one at a time if you're really, really sensitive, up to 3 if you're pretty okay with doing it. Okay. So, oh, Sergio said he got foamy urine for like 8 months. It's getting better. That's a long time. If you had some, I mean, if it's getting better, your kidneys are fixing themselves. Yes. This is interesting. Sean Jack said, I randomly noticed that taking a burst dose of potassium gluconate did 2 things to the urine. Foam was gone and the smell of supplements/proteins consumed 1 hour before was gone as an absorbed better. I don't know. You got to be careful of big dose. One of the problems with potassium's one of the, we have a whole video on potassium if you want to go watch it, folks. But getting your potassium right is one of the quickest ways to feel better. So also, if you're going through the nickel detox, like, it doesn't mean you need tons more potassium, but it means get your potassium right. So if you're not doing potassium, or you're not doing as much as you might benefit from, or you haven't tried it, you might want to try it. Watch my potassium video. But you got to be careful with big doses of potassium, because Too little potassium will cause heart rhythm issues, and too much potassium at once can cause heart rhythm issues. So potassium is, you want to know what you're doing. I'm a bigger fan of potassium malate these days because we believe the malate helps with nickel detox too. Okay. Oh, Fernando Espin says, hopefully this helps with my nickel detoxing. It was definitely the toughest period of the Love Your Liver. Yes. Yeah, hopefully it does help. It just remember, the nickel detox does end. I don't know how long it's going to take for each person. Probably at the most is 3 months if you're doing it right. I think I got out of mine. I got over the hump at about the six month mark. So, Brady says, I just read a study that on Agent Orange victims who did niacin before a sauna session improved a lot of their symptoms. Thoughts on that? I haven't seen that paper. But we do have a paper on Gulf War veterans. So apparently there is yes, there are some research on Agent Orange. So yes, Agent Orange, Gulf War vets who were probably on disability. Joe's posting the potassium live stream. So yeah, detox old Agent Orange stuff out of people. The Gulf War veterans who did it, they were by those burning pits and stuff like that, where they were burning all the garbage and who knows what else. They improved like almost every aspect of how they felt in their health. Yeah, flush niacin is like, you need nicotinic acid, the NAD. So for those of you who are out there taking NAD, or you're taking other NMN or NR or whatever, let me be blunt here. Flush niacin makes more NAD than anything else out there, and it's less expensive than anything else out there. Why do people not take it? Because of the flush. They don't like the flush. Okay, you don't have to like the flush. I don't like the flush. Me taking, I had a bit of a flush this morning. And I can tell you that I know if I take niacin 3 times a day, if I flush the second time, it's way less, and I won't even flush the third time. And then probably tomorrow, after I've loaded up today, I probably won't even flush the first time. So, just going to let you guys know about flush niacin. Like if you're down, if you know you're really toxic and you're down at 25 milligrams of flush niacin and you're like, this feels awful, I can't do this. The way out of it is actually to take it more often. Like again, take it a second time that day. Take it a third time that day. Increase your dose. And then the flush goes away. And then if you miss a couple weeks or a week or something, the flush is going to come back. It'll go away again. I'll tell you, in Tucson here, it was 105 degrees here the other day. I do not like flushing out in the heat. And that's like even worse. I was telling Kelsey, I was like, it's already hot outside. I don't want to be hot coming out of the inside. Like that feels horrible. So I believe she told me to suck it up. And I said, okay, I'll do it. This is it. Vedant said, just Andy, I've also been applying alginate to my hair and skin every now and then. I found that it helps with my itchy scalp. Now, yeah, amazing. Like Vedant, we figured out Vedant has a lot of nickel in him based on his nickel detox symptoms. Yes. So that makes sense. Sam says the instant hot taps are worse than the kettles. Oh, those ones that are in like your sink where you can get instant hot water. Oh, I bet those have like stainless steel tanks, don't they? You can't have a plastic tank on instant hot water. So you're going to have, oh yeah. Shanjak says, I had a stainless pot collecting drip from a leaky plumbing joint for a while. It developed biofilm. When I scrubbed the pot, Scratching the biofilm liberated a strong metallic smell. Yeah. Remember that pathogens episode we went over where they're all feeding on nickel? Oh, and what's the biggest ingredient in biofilms, if you didn't know? Calcium. So you got bacteria using nickel to become virulent and then using extra calcium floating around to defend themselves. One tip on this, folks. If your animals are drinking out of a stainless steel water dish, stop. Stop it. Stop poisoning your animals. Actually, Jillian, if you ever want to make a comment in the live chat about how well you're... So first we started fixing, not purposely, people started fixing their dogs and their cats with the low vitamin A principles. And now Jillian is kind of the first person who is now fixing her dog with low nickel. Massive histamine reactions in the dog. The dog was medicated with corticosteroids for years. Dog is almost off corticosteroids now. And the low nickel diet was the big thing. And she said the dog had detox. Literally, the dog was having low nickel detox symptoms. She said it was pretty rough there for a while. So Jillian, whatever you want to add to that, go ahead. But yeah, it happens to dogs too. So it's not just people making it up. Okay. Okay. Bruno Piper says, hi, Doc. Whole grain tortillas are not okay right now. Okay. Go back and watch the very first nickel toxicity video I did. It's about 6 episodes back now. I'm not telling you to all of a sudden go low nickel. I'm saying go back and watch it and watch through like at least the first 3 episodes before you do anything else. Okay. I got to work on putting this together, but go and watch like at least the first 3 nickel toxicity episodes. I don't know which one it starts with, but you may or may not want to jump head first into low nickel. It's rough. So Alvin says, I've noticed since I've removed nickel from my diet, my eyes have felt a little swollen and I also can't read up close anymore, which is also new since cutting out nickel. Sound like nickel detox. It's possible. It also may be, okay, remember nickel is a zinc is a nickel antagonist. Oh, Joe's saying 245 seems like it was the first nickel toxicity episode. That sounds about right. God, is that 10 episodes now? Is that 10 episodes ago now? Dang. A lot of the eye issues that they can be zinc deficiency too. So if you're detoxing a bunch of nickel, that could be lowering your zinc too. So this is why, like I've talked about before, people with zinc deficiency are much more susceptible to nickel toxicity. So if you're going into the low nickel diet and let's say you have a zinc deficiency that has not been being addressed, the low nickel diet during it, depending upon how much meat you're getting, could be depleting it further. I think this is why when they say taking fiber with your zinc, like food fiber with your zinc, decreases the amount of zinc you absorb, I think it's the nickel getting in the way of the zinc being absorbed because they use the same transporters. So anyway. Sam says, I can't afford this equipment. That's what I was saying. Like it's, okay, so Alvin said, I did have a lot of cold symptoms from nickel detox, which are subsiding with time. I'm taking Pectaclear, but get backed up when I take over 6 a day. So working on taking mag so I can up my dosage. Yep. But that dog had eye swelling. The dog had eye swelling and like allergic reactions that were causing histamine stuff in the eye. So if you're having some eye stuff, it could be nickel. Absolutely. Okay, I think Lynn says, I love flushing in the heat. Some people are a little masochistic, you know? Oh, I'm Lynn saying use a Pyrex. I'm assuming you're talking about for your dog bowls. Yes. User says is mustard sauce a no on the low nickel diet. I mean, okay. Remember, you can do whatever you want. Brassica vegetables, cruciferous vegetables, of which, if you didn't know, all of the broccoli and Brussels sprouts and cauliflower and cabbage came from the wild mustard plant. They are all freakish hybrids of, it's like all the dogs came from wolves, right? But dogs are like freakish hybrids of wolf stock that they hybridize to get these qualities out of them, right? So all the broccoli and Brussels sprouts and cauliflower and cabbage are all freakish hybrids of the original wild mustard plant. They hyperaccumulate nickel in general. So I wouldn't be doing, if you're doing any mustard, I wouldn't be doing a lot of it. I wouldn't be putting it on everything. And then, yeah. But you can always, I mean, everybody makes their choices. So would it technically be on it? It might be on the, I don't know. I don't know. You'd have to look on Nickel Navigator and try to figure it out. And then decide how much mustard you're going to eat. Oh, Heather says my dog's eye boogers are gone from changing their food and water dishes. Did you change them away from nickel, Heather? Like, did you move to like, what big things can you say you changed about the food and the water dishes? And this was Jill. This is Jillian, the dog owner lady that I'm talking about, with the dog with the eye stuff. She says, I'm serious about it. My dog was diagnosed autoimmune and they couldn't even explain what it was, but highly recommend low nickel. It changed the game for my dog. Okay, this is interesting. JJ Lee says 6 weeks low nickel hair test. No difference on the test, but cobalt removal was 3 times. Any chance cobalt gets removed first? It's possible. I would say that I think I had a cobalt dump in my history. So I can't, but I wasn't doing low nickel back then. But yeah, there does tend to be, like when we looked at my hair test, in the hair test prior to the nickel dump, there was a lithium dump. So for me, we saw the lithium dump very obviously, and then it was a nickel dump. So yeah, there is an order. Yeah, the body does do an order. So yeah. But is there a chance of that? Yes. Okay, I think we're gonna wrap. Oh, Jillian's got some other posts here. I just want to finish with the dog. The low nickel diet caused paradoxical reactions to the steroids since the steroids are blocking the detox. Also, yes, get rid of the metal bowls because they are seriously causing so many issues. Get rid of your pet's stainless steel bowls or metal bowls, folks. I mean, we all see how easily those get scratched on the inside, right? Like that's really cheap metal. So what she means by the low nickel diet was causing paradoxical reactions to the steroids was when the dog was pre-low nickel, the dog was on more steroids and she'd been weaning off the dog with stuff that, she's been using stuff from the Love Your Liver program for a while. And the dog was getting less steroids, less corticosteroids. And then as she got lower and lower, then when she was giving the dog the steroids, the eyes would swell, the eyes would puff and get inflamed a little bit, and then they go back down. So I don't know if the dog is off the steroids yet, but the low nickel diet eventually caused it so that, because remember, every drug out there, if you look in the side effects of every drug, the very thing they give the drug for, the symptom that they give you the drug for, is also a side effect of the drug. The like high blood pressure medications, if you look in the side effects, can give you high blood pressure. It's in there. Go look for it. So that's weird. Giving toxins can cause paradoxical reactions. So Jillian says she's currently working through the new hypothesis that diseases like puppy strangle / juvenile cellulitis are actually caused by nickel from food and water bowls when the pups are weaning / growing. I don't know. Everything's getting more nickel toxic. Just wait till I do the history of this stuff. And you'll just, like, the US actually doesn't have a limit on nickel right now in the water. There's no nickel limit in the US. The water guy I talked to tried to say that the EPA had a limit of whatever it was. And I looked it up and I tried to find it. California has a nickel standard, but the US as a whole does not have a maximum limit of nickel. So, oh yeah, Sam's talking about the hot water tap out of your sink. The tank is stainless steel and it keeps the water at boiling temperature 24/7. The heating element is a nickel-based metal. Okay. I believe my ex-mother-in-law, who I do still like very much, has one of those. And I don't know. This is one of those things where it's like, you know, people you love have something that's really bad for them. And you go, I don't know if she'll get rid of it. I don't know. She might though, because she's getting congestive heart failure, or she's got it. And she doesn't do any of my stuff. So I've tried. So Shanjak says, I'm probably here because I had braces in the 90s. Okay. This will be the last question. No more super chats, no more questions. No more chat. I mean, you can chat, but this is the last one. Because we're already at 3 hours. Hold on one sec. In the last live stream, you mentioned in the comments that binders are best taken away from meals. Could you explain why that is? I think many of us assume they should be taken with meals to bind bile. Okay. The thing about, you've got bile kind of running through your guts all day. Binders, if we generalize binders, like if we were talking about the calcium EDTA earlier, and we're talking about DMSA, or we're talking about other binders that literally can bind good, even IP6, which is literally phytic acid. Phytic acid is used to treat cancer. And then you got all the carnivores being like, you can't eat phytic acid, it'll suck away all your minerals. And they're like, but it's sucking away cancer. What's it sucking away then? Nickel and iron, maybe? Okay. In people who sometimes eat too much red meat, why would carnivores be afraid of a little phytic acid? It's kind of funny. Anyway, the carnivore diet's not a bad place to start, but by itself, it's not good enough by itself. No, it's not. Doesn't detox at all. But the idea with binders is, first of all, so we're talking general binders. So anything talks about a binder, it might grab onto some of the good stuff in your food. Okay. That's the general thing. So you take it away from food and away from your supplements and away from your medications, because usually you take those with meals. So you're trying to separate them out. So you're not binding the stuff you really want. Now, I've shown in the research that charcoal doesn't bind any nutrients and cause any nutrient deficiencies. Zeolite doesn't cause any nutrient deficiencies. I think there's a paper on Pectisol not depleting anything. So the binders that we have chosen don't do this. Now, taking a bunch of binders with a bunch of water with food is not going to help your digestion at all. The more water you drink with your meals, binders or not, the more diluted your digestive juices get, and you're not going to digest well. And generally with binders, especially the ones we use, they're going to soak up a lot of water. And then you got to drink more water so you don't get dehydrated. So we have kind of an issue. The bile is okay. So, and here's the other thing to remember. Like when I tell people the charcoal sandwich, and for those of you who don't understand, the charcoal sandwich is something that I used to talk about, and I still do. I still think it's totally useless. I mean, it's useful. Okay. Oh, Joe was saying, yeah, the metal that's quietly tampering with your cell's detox machinery has no legal limit in American tap water. So he just double checked on that. Yeah, there's no legal limit for nickel. There's no conspiracy. No way. As much nickel as you want. So the idea of the charcoal sandwich. Let's say somebody out there chose to go eat. I'll just tell you the quick story of the charcoal sandwich. I used to go and eat sushi. Not very often, but when I'd go to like all you can eat sushi. I'd eat a lot, right? If you're going to go big, you know. I would go and I'd eat eel. I don't know if you know this, but eel is super high in vitamin A. I'd get eel, and of course it was a very salty meal, right? And sometimes I'd get beer or something with it. And this is all pre-Love Your Liver. And then I'd go to bed at night and I'd get a racing heart. And I couldn't fall asleep until like midnight. My ex-wife at the time didn't believe me until she ate some salmon one night, and then she's in bed with the same symptoms as I am. And I'm like, see, told you. So what I did one time when I was going to sushi with some of our friends, I had DMSA, which is a chelating agent, like more of a pharmaceutical-ish chelating agent, in my office. I had some left from back in the days when I used to think this was how to fix people. And I thought, what if I take a bunch of this right before I eat the sushi? Oh, because I tried eliminating things. I thought maybe it's the beer. So I took out the beer. That didn't fix it. I thought maybe it's the amount of sodium in the soy sauce. So I did the low sodium soy sauce or no soy sauce. And then I thought maybe it's the fish or the eel. So I switched what I was eating. None of that worked. So then I thought maybe it's the mercury. So I took a bunch of DMSA pills. I think I took 6 of them at the start of the meal. And I went home and no palpitations in bed, and I fell asleep right away. And after that, I was like kind of happy. It's one of those things where you discover something and I'm kind of happy. And I'm like, oh, cool. That worked. And then also I'm like, dang it. Been poisoning myself with mercury, and now I don't feel like eating sushi anymore. So I tried it again. I repeated the experiment. It worked again. And then later, as I kind of moved away from DMSA, I was like, what if I try this with charcoal? What if I thought the charcoal sandwich was born. I thought, what if I take some charcoal before I eat the sushi? And when I get home, I have some more charcoal. And I tolerate charcoal really well, and I can poop just fine with it. So I think I took like a tablespoon of it before I ate the sushi and a tablespoon when I got home. I had no symptoms. So you got to figure, okay, because I don't want to take charcoal with the meal. I'm at a Japanese restaurant. I'm not going to take in charcoal. And, it takes 15 pills to equal a tablespoon. I don't want to take 15 pills. So I thought if I take it before and I take it after, then that food in my stomach is going to hit either one of those batches of charcoal, maybe both of them. Maybe the charcoal will catch up to it, and maybe the food will catch up to the charcoal. I don't know. But I figured if it's sandwiched in there, I'm going to catch it. So taking binders away from meals, like the food is gonna, you ever noticed how sometimes a meal, let's say you ate something like corn, and you might see the corn in several bowel movements, right? Not just one bowel movement. Or if you took charcoal once, but you see the charcoal in like 2 or 3 bowel movements. See what I'm saying? So it's not all just like, if it's in your gut, some things are moving faster through your gut. Some things are moving slower. So if you're putting the binders in between meals or with meals, it's gonna hit the stuff. But but you really don't want to mess with your digestion by taking too many binders with your food. But if you're trying to absorb stuff if you're eating stuff that you think you shouldn't, or maybe you shouldn't, but you're going to do it anyway, no judgment, throw some charcoal in with it. You could take it with the meal. I just don't want to take that much water when I eat, because then I feel like I don't digest well. And that's normal to feel. So now let's get back to talking about MCP and zeolite and charcoal and the binders that we use, and the Pecticlear, even the alginates. The Econugenics, the Pecticlear company, or the Pectisol company too, they say to take it between meals. That's their advice. Seeing their results, and then they're actually publishing papers on Pectisol, I'm going to take their advice on that. Now, I want to tell you, so think of it this way. Optimal, I think, is between meals, because then it doesn't interfere with your digestion, and it's going to catch the stuff in your gut. It's either going to, stuff is going to catch up to it, or it's going to slow down and back into things. It's also a pain to remember to take between meals. So if you forget a dose, take it with a meal. They both work. Like I wake up in the morning, I have a big glass of water with like the 10 Pecticlear. And then I start my day, and then later in the day, I might take some more Pectisol, maybe once or twice. Do I sit there and actually time it of like, oh, I got to do it an hour after I eat, or I got half an hour before I eat, or an hour after? No, I don't do that. Because it's all gonna, as they joke about, like when kids will separate the stuff on your plate, they'll only eat one thing at a time, which I used to do that. And then you have an adult go, well, it all gets mixed together in your stomach anyway. And you go, yeah, but I don't want to eat it together. So yeah, I don't think it really matters that much, but I think your digestion will be better if you take it between meals. Are we trying to absorb the stuff from bile? Yes, but is there also just bile running around there? Yeah. And the binders can actually grab stuff from your intestinal lining too. Where if you absorb toxic metals, which part absorbs them first and the most? Your intestinal lining. So where can they also be detoxed from the first and the most? From your intestinal lining. So yes, the bile is important, but the two places where nickel stores and accumulates the most is your skin and your gut, which is why the alginate helps so much. Do we have to take the alginate with food? No, but hopefully the idea would be you don't need to take your binders with your food, because your food's not bringing in the poisons. That's why we pick our foods the way we do. So you don't need to depoison your food. You got to depoison your gut and the bile, and taking it, like I said, between meals or with food. I think between meals is better. With food is fine. If I forget to take a dose, I will take it with food. Perfection is the enemy of good enough. That's Pectisol you don't take, can't help you. Pectisol you take with a meal, let's say it was 80% as effective as if you took it between meals. 80% is a lot better than 0. So, okay. Oh, Orion said, the last thing, have I dived into the historical significance of nickel in relation to the German folklore of the devil of Kupfernickel and Old Nick the Devil's Copper, Old Nick's Copper? Very curious stuff. Absolutely, I did. That was definitely one of the first 2 episodes. I think it was the second episode. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna go 4 hours. I didn't go 4 hours. I'm only at 3 hours and 18 minutes. Yeah, Joe's comment here. The Love Your Liver live stream featuring Dr. Garrett. I'm not gonna go for 4 hours, Smith. I'm not. So, Sean Jack says long stream, best stream. Maybe I'll do a long stream next time. Or maybe I'll do it before I get a little break to visit Kelsey. So I'm kind of excited because I get to go. It's one of the first times I'm going to get to see Kelsey where I don't have a live stream in the middle of our visit. So, oh, that was okay. Yeah. Jillian pointed this out. This is this is important. Jillian pointed out, make sure zeolite and charcoal have a 2+ hour spacing for medications. Dr. Smith helped me figure out that I was accidentally binding the steroids my dog was on 6 months ago, and it was causing problems. Okay. I wanted to hit on this one before I did all of it. And I promise this is it. This is it. I really like that you guys appreciate the long live streams. I have other people go, make it a half hour, dude. And I'm like, yeah, that's going to change the medical paradigm. A quick half hour, super short attention span. Don't show studies. Don't validate your reasoning. Just make it short for the people who don't want to listen to anything. I don't want those people. Those are not the people who change things. The people who change things are willing to invest some time and some learning. And nobody would believe me if I was just like, nickel is bad. And people would be like, oh yeah, if you're allergic or sensitive, yeah, it's bad. Otherwise it's fine, right? You can't just make those statements. So anyway, pharmaceutical medications, including corticosteroids, which is what we're talking about here, are poisons. They're literally toxic to the body. What do the binders that we use bind to? Toxins, poisons. So if you take your binders with your medications, including even thyroid hormone, it may bind them and you will not get as much out of them. So definitely, if you're taking any pharmaceutical medications, take your binders at least 2 hours away from them. Now, that was zeolite and charcoal. I don't know what the situation is with modified citrus pectin because nobody tells you to don't eat apples with your medications. So I don't know about that one, but zeolite and charcoal will absolutely absorb pharmaceutical medications. Yes. So thanks, Jillian. Okay. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so you are here. If you're here watching this right now or later, you're probably watching it on YouTube. So this is our YouTube channel, Nutrition Detective. You can find the live streams on the live tab on the main page. You can find the old videos under the videos section. If you're looking for a certain number, so now that we have 255 of these, and you can't find it on the live stream, then look on the videos. And if you can't find it on the videos, look on the live stream. And there, I think it's 198 episode. Episode 198 is only on Rumble. So now we'll get into that. Rumble is our alternative, our backup channel. If you want to go watch this there, that is where there are no special edits. If I say any naughty, unapproved words. And episode 198 is on Rumble. So if you want to watch the one that where we said the three letters we shall not name on this channel, then you can see it there. Okay, our main website, nutritiondetective.com. This is where you can find the membership link, which goes to the Love Your Liver program. This is where you can find the shop, which is our public store for the supplements. This is where you can find the VIP store, which is our password protected store for Love Your Liver members to get discounted rates on all of our products. And then you can also find the testing and consultation packages with Kelsey and Nathan there if you guys want to do our hair testing and blood testing that I have trained them on, and they're doing very good things for people. And then you can get access, eventually you can, if you choose to add it to your program, you can get office hours, which is our group support with Kelsey or Nathan, and Kelsey and Nathan and myself for an extra fee. So there's that. Let's get into the little social media now. So if you want to find me on Twitter, I'm not very active. I'm not super active on social media anymore because I don't like it. We're going to have more marketing there, but I don't need to go on social media and argue with people and have a demeasuring contest with a bunch of people who don't know what they're talking about. I leave them to themselves. And as they say, misery loves company. I don't want their company. Anyway, I do still post on Twitter. I announce, oh, just so you guys know, I do announce the show on Twitter. So if you follow me on Twitter and they actually show you my posts, that's one of the places I announce it. I announce it 3 times each week. I'm working on, okay, I put it on my list. I'm making a template email newsletter that I can send out the day of each live stream. So I can announce it over email so I don't miss that. I announce it on Twitter. I announce it on our YouTube wall. And I announce it inside the Nutrition Detective, inside the Love Your Liver program. So those are the 3 places, soon to be 4, where I announce these shows. And like if I am postponing it, like I did this one from Tuesday to Friday, I will try to tell you on Tuesday before the show so you don't sit around waiting for it. Okay. That's our Facebook page, the Real Nutrition Detective. We do actually live stream the show there. If you're on Facebook, you boomer. This is the direct link to the Love Your Liver program, members.nutritiondetective.com. That is where you can sign up. That's where the main website will take you if you click on the membership link. This is our email. This is our free course, our free email course, and also where you can sign up for newsletters if you want to get announcements of things like, oh, I don't know, flash sales or other things that we're having, that you want to sign up on the newsletter. What else do we have here? We have my Toxic Bile Paradigm series with the lovely Beth Martins. She helped interview me for this, and we did a 3-part series. It starts with episode 231, where we cover the concepts of toxic bile paradigm, which all fits with the nickel stuff. It absolutely all fits with the nickel stuff. So even our paradigm fits with low nickel. Let me add one more thing just real quick about the low nickel, folks. It's not that whole grains and beans and nuts and seeds were always bad for us. When I go over what they've been doing to the soils with the biosludge, okay, most of the nickel you eat isn't absorbed. It comes out in your crap. What is biosludge? Then we have phosphate fertilizers are contaminated with nickel. Then glyphosate can be contaminated with nickel. The water can be contaminated with nickel. This is a modern problem. So we have to find modern solutions. So if you just want to go and eat whatever your grandpappy ate, that's cool. You don't live in your grandpappy's world. And your grandpappy handed down his nickel to your dad, and he handed it down to you, and your mom did too. I don't know if I went over the nickel dump that happens during delivery. Something like the blood level went up 60 times or something between the delivery and the placenta coming out. It's crazy stuff. Oh, and breast milk is high in nickel if the mother's high in nickel. So yeah. So ladies, you want to fix this before you start nursing your baby if you can. The Revive Mouth Guard, we'll just hit on this real quick. The Revive Mouth Guard helps with, I did one show with Ken Lever of the creator of the Revive Mouth Guard. And then I did an extra show on how toxicities change the shape of the skull. But I don't know that getting detoxed will change the shape of your skull back, because there's no force like pulling your skull out. Things collapse in, gravity and other things tend to collapse inward. They don't tend to grow outward. So the Revive Mouth Guard, I've been doing the R3, the big one, after I graduated from the normal ones. And I really like it. It's one of those things where I go to bed and I'm like, if I forget it, I'm like, I should put it in. I should put it in. I should put it in. It's not like an obsessive thing. It's just like, I want to have it in. So I highly recommend it. Oh, let's see. Okay, this is GLASP. So for those of you who saw the highlighted studies I went over today, just a couple of them. If you wanted to see the highlights, let's say you wanted to go into my GLASP, you go to that link right there, glasp.co/VJ, and you type in nickel. Every study that I've highlighted, nickel will show up in that search. So if you want to go through the studies I've looked at and look for copper, look for retinoid or vitamin A or lead or cadmium or whatever, That's where you can go and search. Instagram, the.realnutritiondetective. Let's see. Oh, if you want to work with Kelsey or Nathan, look to the consultation link on the main website. This is my Substack, drgarrettsmith at substack.com. What else do we have? Oh, I wanted to go over Sarah just real quick. For those of you who are EMF sensitive, I will tell you, you'll get less sensitive as you get less toxic. But Sarah, we need to change that, Joe. It's Sarah Leilani. Actually, can I change it right now? No? Dang it. Anyway, Sarah Leilani, she sells the EMF solution stuff. Oh, it's LEI, Joe, LEILANI. So she sells the EMF solution stuff, which I highly recommend. Do I have any on me? Oh, I have my little thing in my pocket. So this is something I wear. This is not the way it comes. This is actually two of the wristwatch shaped things with a phone chip in there. I broke a phone chip and I didn't want to wear the iWatch shaped thing. So I have two of them with the broken eye chip in there, and I taped them all together and I keep it in my pocket. So I love their stuff. I got two of them on my phone, two of the iPhone chips on my Droid phone because they're the strongest things. I got the thing on my smart meter. Don't want to have a smart meter, but I do. So I got that on it. Got all the clips on all the modem and the fans and the motors and all that stuff around here. I think it's great. Other people who give feedback say it's great. Sarah does, let me find it. Sarah does free consults. I'm gonna tell you, Nick, I tell you about the nickel detox, right? I tell you it's gonna suck. Okay, if you dive into the EMF solution stuff, it's going to reduce the stress on your body and you're going to have some detox from that. Okay, this is legit. We had this happening before we ever did the nickel stuff. So just know this stuff is legit. You will actually detox from it. Usually you feel better for a couple days and then the detox starts. So Julie had it. I had it. Like a lot of people have had it. If you talk to Sarah, she can use that code on her store. You get, I think it's 10 or 15% off. I don't know. And free ship. I don't remember what you get. I don't remember the percent. Don't quote me. You get some percent off and you get free shipping, I believe. So that's her website. You can schedule a free consult with her. She'll tell you what she thinks is most important for you. I did a show with her. I think it was at 246, 247. Anyway, I did a show with her. She's great. She totally supports the work. I support her stuff. It's a great relationship. I love that stuff. It doesn't make all of it go away. It doesn't make space weather go away yet. I hope somebody figures out how to fight space weather because that stuff is nasty. Anyway, that's what and then if you ever wanted to see my live stream that I did on EMFs, copper toxicity, vitamin A toxicity, and iron overload, and how they all connect. And now that we know about nickel, so right, quick thing about that episode. Electromagnetic frequency, EMF, right? Electro, that means electric or conductive. Copper is electric and conductive. Zinc is much less conductive. Wow. Copper sometimes causes people to have feelings of buzzing or vibration, almost like an electric feeling. Weird. Then we have vitamin A. Vitamin A causes copper to accumulate and iron to accumulate. This is in the research. And there was some weird research that I go over in that episode about scientists figured out how to recreate the effects of retinoic acid in cells with a frequency. Jeez. And then iron is magnetic. So we have electromagnetic, copper is electric, iron is magnetic. And then now that we're talking about nickel toxicity, nickel is conductive and magnetic. So we're going to fix all of it. Okay, so that is what we got for today. Let me find that one. I'm Dr. Garrett Smith, also known as the nutrition detective around these here YouTube parts. I did not do a 4-hour show. So those of you who are rooting for me to do a 4-hour show, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I didn't want to do that today. I almost did. Shoot, we're at 3 hours and 3.5 hours. Anyway, hope you all have a great week. I wish you all the smoothest of detoxes. I'm sorry if you're suffering right now, and remember that it does end and you will feel better when it's done. You're going to have moments of feeling, I'm just going to tell you this, as you get better, you're going to have moments of feeling really good, and you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm out of it. And then it'll come back a bit. But then the moments of feeling really good will happen more often and more frequently, and you'll feel even better until all of a sudden you're out of it. So you can look forward to that. But the detox sucks. I don't know how to make it go away other than Pectaclear. And if you can't do Pectaclear, then do the Pectasol. And like I said, we're going to have those in the shop very soon. Next week, we're probably going to go over, the timeline of nickel and how things have been ignored and swept under the rug and just not talked about, and historically how they've all come, how this has all happened. So it all kind of, since the 70s, since like glyphosate came out, it all kind of fits the similar timeline. So anyway, you all have a great week. I will see you next week on the right day, on Tuesday. Bye now.